This explains a crucial misconception. Effort doesn't equal energetic clarity. You can do all the right things physically, but if your field is broadcasting doubt, confusion, and misalignment, nothing sticks. You can't outperform your signal. Now let's talk about noise. Energetic noise is anything that interferes with clarity. This includes overthinking, contradictory desires, worry loops, emotional repression, trying to control outcomes, seeking evidence before belief. Each of these fragments your signal. Instead of a laser beam, your transmission becomes a flickering light, hard to receive and even harder to sustain. And when your signal is unstable, your results become inconsistent. Sometimes you catch a glimpse of success. Other times it all unravels. It feels like a pattern, but really, it's the field mirroring your inconsistency. Here's what happens when you remove noise and bring your signal into coherence. Your reality begins to feel predictable in a good way. Your actions feel guided, not forced. Resistance lessens. Synchronicity becomes normal. The delay between desire and outcome shortens. Your field becomes magnetic. And magnetism doesn't pull in effort. It pulls in matches. But to get there, you need to identify what's been fragmenting your field in the first place. So ask yourself, am I saying I want something that I don't truly feel safe receiving? Am I holding a vision that contradicts how I speak about my current life? Do I trust that life supports me? Or am I still trying to prove my worth to the world? Questions like these don't just invite reflection. They expose the leaks. And once you're aware of them, your signal begins to shift. Awareness itself starts the tuning process. Now that you understand your energy field is constantly transmitting, and that thoughts alone don't hold the power you once believed, you're ready to see how the quantum field actually reads your signal and what happens when the message gets garbled. Next, we will explore what the field listens to, how it responds, and what causes your signal to be misread even when your intentions feel pure. The quantum field responds to frequency, not logic, not effort, not verbal requests, frequency. And that means one thing: your entire interaction with the field is happening before you ever speak a word or perform an action. It happens in your emotional state, your energetic consistency, and your ability to maintain resonance. Now let's get one thing straight. The field is not a wish-granting genie. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't judge. It reflects. But the accuracy of what it reflects depends entirely on how clearly it can read your signal. Here's where confusion enters the picture. Your broadcast can be misunderstood. Not because the field is flawed, but because your energy is split. You've likely been taught to focus on what you want. But focus alone is not enough. Because if your focus is tinged with desperation, attachment, doubt, or even subtle resistance, the signal changes. Let's break it down. You want a new relationship. You focus on love. But deep down, your body carries a memory of betrayal. That memory produces microsignals of caution. And those signals alter the way the field responds. You say you're ready, but your field says, "Protect me." The universe hears the louder signal. Another example: you want to grow your income. You picture success. You write affirmations. But inside, you associate wealth with stress, risk, or even guilt. You've linked having money with losing freedom or being judged. So the field, again, responds not to your vision board, but to your internal frequency map. It says, "This person isn't safe with wealth. Delay the delivery." Not out of punishment, out of resonance. The most overlooked factor here is emotional contradiction. This happens when the emotion you carry contradicts the image you're trying to project. You picture freedom but feel stuck. You affirm clarity but carry confusion. You speak confidence but your nervous system is bracing for collapse. These are all mixed messages. And the field gets confused. Confusion equals delay. Confusion equals missed feedback loops. Confusion equals a reality that feels unpredictable and frustrating. Now here's the most important part. You're not sending just one signal. You're sending hundreds. Tiny energetic patterns based on how you speak, feel, expect, and act. Some of them are coherent. Most are not. And when multiple signals are sent at once, the field returns the strongest match. Not the one you want most, but the one that's most coherent. So if you feel self-doubt consistently, but only affirm confidence for 5 minutes a day, guess what wins? The dominant signal. Now, let's look at a unique phenomenon called quantum overlay. Quantum overlay is when your present signal is distorted by the remnants of past frequency. Say you've been rejected before. Even if you've moved on, that emotional residue still lingers in your field if you haven't recalibrated it. The field doesn't just respond to your current thoughts. It responds to accumulated charge. So if old charges haven't been discharged, they keep mixing with the present. This is one reason people keep repeating patterns. Not because they're doomed, but because their field is still carrying echoes. And echoes act like commands. So how does the field interpret your signal accurately? Through coherence. Coherence is when all parts of your being are aligned in one direction. Your nervous system isn't bracing, it's trusting. Your thoughts aren't contradicting your emotions. Your expectations aren't canceling your affirmations. Coherence creates clarity. Clarity amplifies signal. Amplified signal becomes unmistakable to the field. So how do you create coherence? Start by observing where your words and emotions don't match. Notice where your desires and expectations conflict. Pay attention to where you're pretending to be aligned, but underneath you're doubting. You don't need to fake positivity. You need to clean up your frequency. And you do that by releasing contradiction, not covering it up. Now that you know how the field reads your frequency, and how easily it can be confused, you're ready to address the first major mistake most people make when trying to realign their signal. Next, we will uncover why thinking in linear time interrupts your ability to access the field, and how to shift into the true dimension where the universe responds without delay, distortion, or resistance. It's been drilled into you since childhood. Past leads to present leads to future. Cause and effect follow a neat, tidy line. But the universe doesn't operate on that line. The quantum field doesn't flow in a straight path. It doesn't process your reality through minutes, hours, or days. It responds in spirals, overlays, simultaneity. In the field, time doesn't march, collapses. And this misunderstanding, this default to linear thinking, is one of the most common and damaging mistakes people make when trying to align with their desired outcomes. Because when you think in linear time, you project delay. You attach cause to effect in a way that creates resistance. You believe the future is somewhere far away, slowly approaching. But from the perspective of the field, that future you desire, it already exists. Here's where the disconnect happens. Let's say you want to experience abundance. In your mind, you see it as something you'll get to later, once the job changes, once the project takes off, once the external situation shifts. That thought alone installs a delay, because the frequency of later is not the same as the frequency of now. And the field only reflects your current frequency, not the timeline you've mentally attached it to. So every time you think of your goal as something you're working toward, reaching for, or hoping will happen, you're placing it outside your vibrational present. That action fractures alignment. Let's make this practical. You visualize success but think it's 6 months away. You affirm love, but expect it to show up when you're ready. You claim confidence but believe it'll show up after external validation. In each of those, you're creating a temporal distance between the signal and the outcome. The result? Your field reflects the frequency of distance, waiting, and not yet. This is why people stay stuck in preparation loops. They feel like they're doing the work, but they're never actually broadcasting the frequency of having. They're broadcasting the frequency of getting ready. And the field responds perfectly to that. It mirrors back perpetual preparation. You must shift your perception of time. You need to stop seeing your desired outcomes as destinations and begin experiencing them as frequencies that already exist in the field. You're not waiting for the future. You're selecting it. You don't attract what you want over time. You collapse timelines by shifting your signal into resonance with the version of you that's already living that reality. That version isn't fictional. It's available, right now. But linear thinking tells you it's not here yet, and that belief is the very block that delays its arrival. Let's go deeper into how the field interprets time. In quantum mechanics, there's a principle known as superposition. It means that particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed, translated into your reality. All possible versions of your life already exist. The wealthy you, the healed you, the confident you, the version with the aligned partner, the thriving business, the body you want to live in. They're all part of the field. The only thing keeping you from accessing them is your attachment to linear time and the story that you're not there yet. This is not just philosophical. It's neurological. Your brain is wired to replay the past and simulate the future. It's trained to follow cause-effect sequencing. But the field doesn't follow your neurology. It mirrors your frequency. So unless you override the habit of projecting everything into the future, you'll never feel the signal of already having. And that is the only signal that collapses probabilities into form. You might ask, but don't I need to take action over time to build outcomes? Action is useful, but it doesn't shape the field. Frequency does. Aligned action that arises from a now-based signal is powerful. But action taken from a place of trying to make something happen later carries a frequency of incompletion. And the field mirrors that too. You are never manifesting in the future. You are only ever manifesting now. So here's the shift. Start feeling the version of you that already has it before any evidence exists. Hold that frequency without trying to chase it. Live from the outcome, not toward it. It may feel strange at first. Your logical mind will rebel. But the more you root into this concept, the faster your external life begins to reorganize. Not because the world is catching up to your desire, but because you've entered the frequency where that desire already lives. Next, we will challenge something even more hidden than linear time, the way your memory is hijacking your signal and keeping your present tied to the past instead of the possible. By default, most people don't manifest the future. They replicate the past. The field may be limitless, but your frequency is often stuck in old loops, unconscious echoes of experiences you've already had. These memories aren't just mental images. They are stored frequencies, emotional signatures, and they silently shape your energetic output, forming a self-fulfilling mirror that reflects back more of what you've already seen. Let's get this straight. The past isn't something that happened. The past is something that's still active in your field, if you haven't updated it. If you've been betrayed in love, and you haven't recalibrated your signal, your field still carries the frequency of caution and mistrust. If you grew up around scarcity, and you haven't rewritten the inner programs, your field still transmits fear around receiving. These aren't just memories. They're active instructions. And the field listens. So here's the hard truth. You're not stuck because you're unlucky or unworthy. You're stuck because you're manifesting from memory instead of possibility. You're looping the old data instead of transmitting a new code. And unless you interrupt that loop, the field will keep mirroring the same results, no matter how much you visualize, meditate, or journal. Now let's talk about how memory creates energetic distortion. Memory isn't neutral. Every memory carries a charge. Positive ones may lift you, but unresolved memories, especially the emotionally intense ones, leave behind fragmented frequencies that continue to broadcast. So even if you've moved on logically, the field doesn't respond to logic. It responds to charge. And that charge must be cleared, or it becomes part of the new signal, pulling in outcomes that resemble the old pain even in new forms. This is why people say, I keep attracting the same type of partner, or I can't seem to break this cycle with money. They're not attracting something new. They're looping, and that loop continues until the memory-based signal is disrupted and replaced by one that's possibility-based. So how do you shift from memory to possibility? First, recognize when you're thinking, speaking, or reacting from the past. Listen for phrases like, "This always happens to me. I already know how this ends. I've tried this before, and it didn't work." Those aren't just beliefs. They're frequency anchors. Each time you say or think them, you reactivate the old signal and instruct the field to bring more of the same. Second, train your nervous system to tolerate newness. Possibility is unfamiliar. It doesn't feel like the past. That alone can make it uncomfortable. And most people unconsciously avoid discomfort, even if that means staying in a loop that doesn't serve them. So shifting into possibility isn't just about dreaming big. It's about stabilizing your field in a signal you haven't lived in before. That requires awareness, patience, and repetition. Third, emotional neutrality is key. You don't need to rewrite every traumatic memory, but you do need to pull the emotional charge out of it. Because once the emotional intensity fades, the frequency weakens, and the field no longer registers it as part of your dominant signal. You can't project a new reality from an old charge. But the moment you stabilize in a new emotional state, one that isn't reactive to memory, you begin transmitting from potential, not pattern. And that's when the field starts offering you outcomes that break the cycle. Next, we will examine the most powerful concept yet. The field doesn't hear words, it feels frequency. This will expose why most goal setting and affirmations fall flat, and what you must do to speak a language the universe actually understands. You've probably heard the advice 1,000 times. Speak your desires into existence. Use affirmations. Declare your intentions. Visualize the outcome in full detail. That advice isn't wrong, but it's dangerously incomplete. Because here's what most people never learn. The field doesn't hear language. It doesn't respond to the sentence, the tone, the carefully rehearsed phrasing. It feels frequency. That means you can say all the right words, but if the frequency beneath those words contradicts them, your transmission is incoherent. And the universe doesn't decode the vocabulary. It mirrors the vibration. Let's make that real. You can say, I am abundant, 50 times a day. But if your body tenses every time you check your bank account, the field reflects scarcity. You can declare, I am confident, in front of the mirror. But if your nervous system contracts before every social interaction, the field registers fear. You can repeat, I am attracting love, until your voice cracks. But if your heart is still protecting itself behind walls built years ago, the signal is not open, it's closed. The field mirrors the dominant vibration, not the declared statement. This is where so many people feel defeated. They're doing what they were told, repeating affirmations, practicing gratitude, saying positive things, but their reality isn't shifting, not because they're doing it wrong, but because they've never been taught to align the energy underneath the words. Without that, all verbal intention becomes noise. Let's clarify something right now. The field doesn't differentiate between I want and I have based on language. It differentiates based on vibrational match. You may say you want success, but if your energy is broadcasting lack, you're sending the frequency of absence, not fulfillment. And the universe, as a mirror, cannot override your true signal. It can only return what it receives. This is why emotional alignment is more powerful than any technique. Emotion is frequency. Your words might form the message, but emotion gives it power, direction, and magnetic weight. Words without emotion are like seeds without soil, well-formed, but unable to grow. But emotion without clarity can also misfire. The key is resonance. When your words, emotions, beliefs, and physical state are in harmony, the field feels it and reflects that coherence in your outer world. So here's the mistake most people make. They say what they want but feel what they fear. They express desires out loud but carry doubt inside. They speak optimism but embody hesitation. They set goals but vibrate with pressure and anxiety. This dissonance becomes distortion. And distortion is exactly what causes the universe to echo back confusion. Let's break this down even further. Your frequency is shaped by a few key things. Your nervous system state. If you're in fight, flight, or freeze, you are not radiating trust, you are radiating survival. Your belief matrix. If you don't believe you're worthy, your field won't reflect worthiness, no matter what you say. Your emotional charge. Intensity doesn't equal coherence. A desperate desire isn't magnetic, it's chaotic. Your unconscious expectations, these override every conscious affirmation. If you expect things to go wrong, your signal is preloaded with that prediction. Your job is not to polish your words. It's to clean up your vibration. Now, consider this. You could be silent for an entire day, never speak a single affirmation, never set an intention. But if you are emotionally regulated, open to receiving, grounded in safety, and vibrating in wholeness, your field will do the work for you. This is not about performance. It's about presence. When your internal state becomes a frequency match to the version of you who already has what you seek, the field reorganizes reality around you. You won't have to force outcomes. You won't have to chase validation. You'll become naturally magnetic. Not because you said the magic phrase, but because your very being is a match to the result. So instead of repeating affirmations that don't land, begin cultivating emotional congruence. Feel the outcome before it arrives. Align your nervous system with the energy of safety. Release the need to convince the universe through speech, and focus on embodying the result. That's what the field hears. That's what it responds to. Now that you understand the language of frequency, it's time to explore another reason your signal keeps being misunderstood. Next, we will uncover how trying to manifest multiple contradictory realities at once is jamming your transmission, and what happens when your field sends too many mixed signals for the universe to interpret. Think about a radio dial. You want to hear one clear station, but instead your dial keeps jumping frequencies every few seconds. Static, snippets, interference. What would you hear? Noise. That's what happens when your energetic field is broadcasting multiple contradictory signals. And this is the second critical mistake that blocks alignment. You're trying to send too many frequencies at once. The result? The universe doesn't reject you. It gets a scrambled transmission. Let's look at how this plays out in everyday reality. You wake up wanting clarity, but start the day checking your phone, absorbing other people's energy. You say you want peace, but you fill your day with overstimulation. You ask for success, but doubt yourself every time a new opportunity appears. The conflict isn't verbal, it's vibrational. And it happens when your thoughts, behaviors, emotions, and unconscious programming are moving in opposing directions. Here's the trap. You're likely trying to hold space for multiple desires, identities, and outcomes simultaneously, but without resolving the tension between them. For example, you want freedom but also want control. You want intimacy but fear vulnerability. You want abundance but feel guilt about receiving. You want transformation but keep identifying with old limitations. Each of those dualities creates signal split, and the field can't reflect a stable outcome because your energy isn't stabilized. Let's go deeper. Your energetic system operates like a transmitter and receiver in one. When you're clear, consistent, and emotionally aligned with one signal, you become magnetic. But the moment your field begins switching desires, questioning intentions, or fearing the outcome, the signal fractures. This isn't just theoretical. It's neurochemical. Every shift in focus, every reactive emotional swing, every contradictory decision causes a corresponding shift in your electromagnetic field. The more fractured your inner world, the more chaotic your outer experience becomes. So how do you know if you're broadcasting too many signals? You may experience inconsistent results, partial manifestations, patterns repeating with slight variation, feeling pulled in different directions emotionally, a sense of never really arriving at your goal. This isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that your signal is too crowded. You're trying to manifest while doubting. You're trying to grow while resisting uncertainty. You're trying to call in a new reality while holding tightly to old self-concepts. And the field can only reflect the strongest, clearest vibration. Not the loudest, not the most passionate, the most coherent. This is why people often feel like they're being tested. They ask for expansion and then get hit with fear. They ask for love and then sabotage connection. But these aren't tests. They're feedback. The field is showing you exactly where your signal splits. And it's doing that not to punish you, but to help you purify your frequency. So here's what you must do. Choose one frequency, one emotional anchor, one internal broadcast, This doesn't mean you can't have multiple goals. It means your core signal must stay consistent regardless of the goal. You can want health, success, love, peace, but your baseline must be regulated. Your nervous system must be grounded in trust. Your emotional body must remain coherent. That's when multiple goals stop competing and start harmonizing. Don't chase clarity through control. Create clarity through congruence. Your field is either signaling trust or fear, wholeness or fragmentation, openness or resistance. Simplify the signal. Clean up the contradictions. Stop broadcasting 50 stations and tune into the one that reflects your highest timeline. Now that you've seen how fragmentation collapses your field's effectiveness, it's time to expose an even deeper split, one that happens between your conscious desire and your subconscious resistance. Next, we will examine the energetic war within you. When you say yes, but your vibration says no, and what it takes to resolve that internal battle. There's a version of you that consciously says yes to success, yes to abundance, yes to love, yes to expansion. You repeat the affirmations. You write the goals. You tell yourself you're open. But beneath that layer, another version of you exists. One that's hesitant, uncertain, guarded. And while the conscious self is making the request, it's the subconscious self that controls the frequency. That's why so many people experience contradictory results. Because even when they say yes, their field is radiating a silent but dominant no. Let's unpack this. Your conscious mind is responsible for decision-making, focus, intention. It's powerful, but it's not the one broadcasting the strongest signal. The subconscious mind holds the emotional programming, the belief systems, the past conditioning. And it's the subconscious that sets your dominant frequency, whether you're aware of it or not. So when the two are in conflict, your field sends mixed signals. And the field, as always, mirrors the one with the most energetic charge. That's usually the subconscious. Let's say you say yes to love. You declare you're ready for intimacy, depth, and connection. But underneath, you carry a fear of abandonment, a fear of being seen too closely. So when you meet someone, your conscious self is open, but your subconscious starts tightening, doubting, protecting, and that invisible shift alters your field. Instead of broadcasting availability, your field broadcasts retreat. And the universe responds accordingly. Not to your words, but to your state. This happens constantly. You say yes to financial growth, but feel overwhelmed by the responsibility of having more. You say yes to visibility, but fear criticism or exposure. You say yes to transformation, but your nervous system is addicted to the familiar. These inner contradictions aren't failures, they're energetic friction. And that friction confuses the field. The real challenge isn't getting the universe to respond. It's getting your inner broadcast to match your spoken desires. And that means one thing: your subconscious must be brought into agreement. You can't manifest coherence if your inner world is at war with itself. Here's what you must begin observing. When your body tenses while you say yes. When you feel excitement immediately followed by anxiety. When you notice a slight resistance just as you're imagining success. That's the subconscious stepping in. Not to sabotage you, but to protect you from what it still sees as unfamiliar or unsafe. The subconscious isn't trying to block your growth. It's trying to keep you in the environment it was trained to survive in. But if your survival template was built around scarcity, rejection, or instability, then even your highest goals will trigger resistance. This is why your vibe can cancel out your words. Because your vibe, your frequency, is rooted in stored emotional memory. It's the sum total of how safe you feel to receive, expand, trust, and evolve. And until you shift that core frequency, your yes won't land in the field. It will bounce off the old programming. So how do you get the subconscious to agree? Not through repetition alone, and not through brute force discipline. You must start by creating emotional safety. You must teach your body that having what you want won't destabilize you. That success won't isolate you. That love won't overwhelm you. That abundance won't destroy your peace. The subconscious responds to safety. The moment it feels stable in the presence of expansion, it stops resisting. Second, replace urgency with presence. A forced yes is still rooted in fear. It tells the subconscious, we need this now, or we won't be okay. That doesn't build trust. It reinforces pressure. But when your yes is calm, grounded, and non-attached, your subconscious begins to follow. It stops fighting. It starts aligning. Finally, create micro-experiences of the outcome. Don't wait for a relationship. Practice vulnerability in your friendships. Don't wait for wealth. Practice generosity with what you have. Don't wait for confidence. Practice small expressions of boldness. These microsignals help rewire the subconscious. They tell your system, this is safe now. This is normal. This belongs to us. And when your subconscious begins to trust the new frequency, your field stops contradicting your words. Now the yes becomes whole. And a whole yes is the most magnetic frequency the universe can feel. Next, we will explore what happens when those unhealed fragments from your past don't just contradict your current desire, but actually interfere with the timeline of your future. You'll see how your past isn't behind you. It's embedded in your signal and collapsing your quantum potential before it can form. The quantum field holds all timelines. That includes the highest, most expansive version of you. And the fractured, wounded memories you're still unconsciously carrying. And if those two are active at the same time without resolution, interference occurs. Not metaphorically, energetically. This is known in quantum physics as destructive interference. It's when two waves meet, and instead of amplifying each other, they cancel out. That's exactly what happens when your future signal and your past imprint collide. Let's say you're tuning into the frequency of being fully expressed. The future you is confident, radiant, unapologetically visible. But inside, there's a younger version of you still frozen in the memory of rejection, shame, or humiliation. You try to project the future frequency. You visualize it. You speak it. But that old imprint isn't neutral. It's charged. And when the two signals meet, interference collapses the coherence. Your present feels stuck. The vision fades. Nothing materializes. Not because you weren't trying hard enough, but because your field was already occupied. Your past doesn't just live in your memory. It lives in your field. Until it's cleared, healed, or neutralized, it acts like a countersignal, one that interrupts your current frequency and creates static in your manifestations. This isn't about dwelling on trauma or rehashing old pain. It's about recognizing which fragments of your past are still broadcasting. Because if you don't, they become the hidden architects of your future. Here's what interference looks like in real life. You begin making progress, then suddenly self-sabotage. You experience synchronicities, then doubt they're real. You take bold action, then withdraw before anything can land. These aren't random behaviors. They're the echoes of past frequency crashing into the edge of your future. Every future timeline requires space in your field. But when that space is already filled with unresolved emotional data, the new frequency has nowhere to land. You must clear the clutter. This isn't about forgetting the past. It's about discharging the charge. Let's talk about emotional charge. Every memory you carry has either been integrated or it's still active. If it's integrated, it's wisdom. It doesn't disrupt your signal. If it's active, it's noise. It distorts your broadcast. And most people are walking around with hundreds of active frequencies that have never been neutralized. So when they try to install a new vision, the old ones override it. Not logically, energetically. So how do you stop interference? Step 1. Identify the emotional programs that are still active. Ask yourself, what outcome do I fear the most, even if I won't admit it? What past pain am I secretly trying to avoid repeating? Where am I still trying to prove I've healed, instead of simply being free? These questions reveal the hidden signals. Step 2. Stop resisting the echo. Interference becomes stronger the more you fight it. But when you witness it, feel it, and hold space for it, it begins to weaken. The moment a past wound is met with presence, it begins to lose charge. And as the charge dissolves, so does the interference. Step 3. Install the future memory now. Begin teaching your nervous system what it feels like to be that future self. And do it daily, viscerally, with feeling, not force. The more consistently you hold that new frequency, the less room your field has for the past to interrupt it. You're not erasing history, you're overpowering it with signal clarity. And when the future signal becomes dominant, the quantum field collapses that reality into form. This is how interference is not just cleared, but overridden. You become a stable broadcaster of a single, coherent future. One that no longer reacts to the past, but redefines it. Now that you understand the mechanics of interference, you're ready to face the third major mistake people make in the field. They observe outcomes too early. They collapse the wave before it's had time to form. Next, we will break open this critical concept: how early observation kills possibility, and what you must do instead to allow infinite outcomes to crystallize in your favor. In the quantum world, observation changes everything. Literally, particles behave like waves, unformed, full of potential until they're observed. At that moment, they collapse into a single point, a fixed state. This is called the observer effect. And in quantum physics, it's been demonstrated repeatedly. The very act of measuring or looking at a system alters the outcome. What most people don't realize is that this isn't just science. It's also your life. You're observing outcomes too soon. And that single act is collapsing possibility before it has a chance to materialize. Let's make this practical. You set an intention. You align your energy. You visualize. You feel the result. And then 10 minutes later, you check. You mentally peek to see if it's working. You look around for evidence. You scan your environment for signs. You assess whether the thing has shown up yet. That assessment is observation. And that observation is no longer just awareness. It's interference. You're not letting the wave develop. You're not letting potential flow. You're measuring a process that's still forming, and by doing so, you're forcing it to collapse prematurely. This is where patience isn't just a virtue. It's a form of energetic protection. When you demand immediate feedback from the field, you're not trusting the alignment. You're checking on it. And checking energy is loaded with hidden resistance. It broadcasts doubt. It signals lack of faith. It attempts to control timing. All of that becomes part of the transmission. And once that signal is felt, the field has no choice but to reflect it. That's when things stall, shift, diminish, not because your desire is wrong, but because your frequency shifted into surveillance mode and the wave collapsed under pressure. Let's look at what it means to let a wave form. In energy terms, that means holding a coherent signal without needing to know when it will arrive, how it will arrive, or what signs should show up first. It means letting the frequency be enough, because when the frequency is stable, the form must follow. But when you interrupt the frequency with constant observation, the form becomes unstable. This is the paradox. You must become certain without needing confirmation. You must remain aligned without demanding evidence. You must trust the wave without collapsing it by trying to measure its progress. This is not passivity. This is energetic mastery. It's the ability to remain in a signal of wholeness so consistently that the universe has no option but to meet you there. So why do we observe too early? Because the human brain is addicted to measurement, to control, to feedback. We've been conditioned to equate speed with success. And when we don't see results fast enough, we assume it's not working. But in the quantum realm, delay doesn't mean denial. The most powerful frequencies often require stillness. Time may appear to be passing, but what's really happening is calibration. You're being matched. The field is reorganizing. The wave is shaping itself into form. But if you can't hold the signal through the invisible stretch, you collapse it. You interrupt the unfolding. Here's the energetic truth. The wave only collapses when you stop holding it as potential. The moment you demand certainty, you switch out of creation mode and into evaluation mode. That evaluation mode installs conditions. This must happen by this date. If I don't see this sign, it's not real. If the call doesn't come, I did it wrong. Those conditions introduce friction, and friction kills flow. Now let's look at what it means to hold a wave open. It means being able to feel the outcome now, even if nothing has changed yet externally. It means staying in emotional alignment long enough for matter to catch up with frequency. It means becoming the version of you who no longer seeks proof, because being it is the proof. When you reach that level of stability, manifestation becomes effortless. You're not waiting for the shift. You are the shift, and the field responds to that with precision. To correct this mistake, practice frequency without expectation. Not because expectation is wrong, but because the need for it bends your signal into lack. Signal becomes powerful when it's clean, and a clean signal says, "This is who I am. This is the frequency I live in. This is real to me," before it becomes real around me. This is how the universe learns to trust you, because you've stopped rushing the wave. You've stopped needing reassurance. You've stabilized into resonance. And resonance, once sustained, collapses the highest possible outcome. Next, we will explore what happens in the space where the wave is still forming. You'll discover the most potent, untapped energetic zone, the unobserved moment, and why it holds the highest magic the universe has to offer. There's a gap between desire and form, a space where nothing is visible yet, where no results have landed, where no proof exists. Most people fear this space. They mislabel it as stagnation, limbo, or failure. But this unobserved moment, the stretch of time where the wave is still forming, is the most fertile energetic terrain in existence. This is where reality is most fluid, where timelines are still in flux, where quantum potential remains unlimited. And if you know how to stay in this space without collapsing it with premature doubt, you become a true transmitter. You stop chasing outcomes. You begin sculpting possibility. Let's define the unobserved moment more clearly. It's the time after alignment, but before arrival. After the signal is sent, but before it materializes. It's not empty. It's not idle. It's rich. Because in this space, the field is tuning itself to your broadcast. The wave is still expanding. The possibilities are still open. And the less you observe it with pressure, the more gracefully it refines itself. This is where trust becomes everything. Not hope, not passive wishing, but calibrated trust, the kind that lets the wave become what it needs to without stepping in to dissect it. Because in the quantum field, what you are not observing is still fluid, still able to shift, refine, elevate. It hasn't collapsed into form yet, which means your outcome is still plastic, elastic, moldable. Let's contrast this with ordinary behavior. Most people treat the unobserved moment as a problem to fix. They check the bank account daily. They stalk social media for clues. They obsess over synchronicities. They monitor every detail to see if the result is arriving. And in doing so, they collapse the potential. Because now the outcome is being pulled into form based on stress, urgency, and resistance, not coherence. The unobserved moment is not a void. It's a womb. It's the place where reality gestates, where unseen forces rearrange. And your only job inside that space is to maintain frequency, not demand evidence. To feel the result before it exists. To radiate the vibration of already having. To let the field know you're stable even without feedback. That kind of presence is magnetic beyond measure. Now let's talk about time compression. When you stay fully present in the unobserved moment, time begins to collapse. The wave requires less duration to crystallize. The form arrives faster because you're not adding friction to the process. The less you need, the faster it moves. The more you relax, the more the outcome accelerates. This is not paradox, it's physics. Coherence speeds up manifestation. Interference slows it down. So how do you thrive in the unobserved moment? First, stop waiting. Start being. Waiting is lack dressed in spiritual clothing. It says, I'm aware it's not here. It says, something is missing. It says, I'll be whole when it arrives. Being says, it's already here, inside me. Being says, this version of me exists. Being says, I've stabilized the signal. I trust the wave to respond. Second, drop the timelines. You don't control the arrival. You control the signal. The field handles the how, the when, the path. Your task is consistency, purity, signal integrity. When you obsess over time, you step out of alignment. Time consciousness is a trigger for collapse. Frequency consciousness is the fuel for expansion. Third, make the unobserved moment sacred. Instead of dreading the stretch between the now and the outcome, cherish it. Because it's in this space that you build energetic maturity. It's in this moment that the field decides whether you're broadcasting from true embodiment or temporary motivation. If you can hold the frequency without feedback, the field will elevate the result beyond your original scope. That's when you don't just receive the thing, you receive a higher version of it. A version you couldn't have logically planned. The unobserved moment is where the miraculous enters. Because the mind has stepped out. The pressure has dissolved. The signal is clean. And when the signal is clean, the field doesn't just match it, it exceeds it. This is the space where life begins reflecting the unimaginable. Now that you understand the creative power of the unseen stretch, it's time to purify the environment around your signal. Next, we will expose the concept of signal pollution, why even a strong desire can be blocked by energetic noise, and how to detox your field so that your communication with the universe becomes unmistakable. You've been trained to chase certainty, to know the plan, to predict the outcome, to build strategies around things that feel solid, measurable, and safe. But in quantum terms, certainty is not power, it's limitation. And the universe? It doesn't respond best to the version of you who has everything figured out. It responds to the version who is available, open, in motion, unfolding. It responds to the version of you who isn't trapped in what already is, but fluid enough to become what could be. You may believe that clarity is what magnetizes outcomes, but it's actually uncertainty, when embodied without resistance, that opens the door to infinite potential. Because clarity often comes with rigid expectations. It says, this is how it must go. This is the only version I'm willing to accept. But energetic rigidity signals contraction. And contraction collapses options. The universe doesn't need your certainty. It needs your permission. Permission to surprise you. Permission to exceed your logic. Permission to take the shape you didn't even think to imagine. Let's define what real uncertainty is and what it isn't. Uncertainty is not confusion. It's not chaos. It's not aimless wandering. Uncertainty is openness without panic. It's holding the frequency of trust while walking through the unknown. It's living in the space between what's familiar and what's forming, and choosing to feel safe in that in-between. That space is magnetic. It tells the field, I'm not stuck to a form. I'm ready for the highest version of what wants to emerge. Now here's the irony. Most people are trying to manifest something new while clinging to the comfort of certainty. But the new can't land in a field that only honors what feels known. You want expansion? Then you must stretch. You want transformation? Then you must loosen your grip on what feels predictable. Because predictability is rooted in your past. Possibility exists only in the unknown. Uncertainty is the quantum playground. It's the space where all timelines are still alive, where the field is still listening, still sculpting, still considering infinite pathways. And when you bring emotional steadiness into that field, without demanding a specific path, you trigger something powerful. The field begins shaping itself to the signal of your surrender. This is not passive. This is creative vulnerability. It's the willingness to let go of who you think you need to be, so you can become the version of you the universe is ready to reflect. It's the suspension of mental control, not the abandonment of direction. It's trusting the frequency, not forcing the form. Let's look at what uncertainty feels like when it's integrated. It feels like peace even when there's no visible outcome. It feels like motion even when things appear still. It feels like ease even when no plan has arrived. Because your nervous system isn't looking for the answer anymore. It's radiating, I'm already enough for it to come to me. And that frequency is irresistible to the field. So why does the universe respond better to this version of you? Because certainty is often just fear with armor. It says, I need to know, or I'll lose control. I need a guarantee, or I'll stay small. I need to plan everything, or I won't be okay. But that kind of frequency tells the field, I'm not available for surprises. I only accept outcomes that feel safe. I'm not ready to become someone new. I'm still defending the old. Uncertainty says, I can't see it yet, but I feel it. I don't have the details, but I know it's close. I'm not clinging to any version. I'm calling in the one that matches my highest self. That openness creates space. And space is where new timelines land. So if you're waiting for certainty before you act, you're blocking the very intelligence that brings outcomes to life. But if you can breathe in the unknown, if you can stabilize inside it, you move into resonance with creation itself. Because creation doesn't follow a script. It responds to presence. And presence inside uncertainty is pure signal. Next, we will unearth the hidden reason why manifestation often stalls, misfires, or reflects the wrong outcomes. It's not about effort, it's about energetic clutter. You'll discover how signal pollution builds unnoticed and how to detox the noise that's jamming your connection to the field. You're doing the inner work. You're setting intentions. You're tuning into desire, feeling the outcome, trying to hold the frequency. But still, results are inconsistent. Energy feels stuck. The feedback loop seems muted. It's not because you're blocked. It's not because you're broken. It's because your field is polluted. And polluted signals can't deliver clean results. Let's talk about what signal pollution really is. It's not just negative thinking. It's not just emotional lows. It's the subtle energetic residue that clouds your transmission. It's made of unprocessed emotional loops, hidden belief systems, environmental influences, people you're entangled with, habits that drain your signal, thoughts that contradict your desire, energetic attachments you haven't released. Each of these carries weight, and together they create static. That static doesn't erase your signal, it distorts it. And distortion leads to delay, interference, or chaotic outcomes that don't match your intention. You might be saying yes to your future, but if your field is full of residual energy from the past, your signal isn't pure. You're transmitting one thing, but the field is receiving a blend of frequencies. And blended signals create fragmented results. Think of it like this. You're trying to send a crystal clear song to the universe. But there's background noise, old fears, looping thoughts, energetic echoes. The melody is there, but it's muffled. The field can't reflect clarity when you're broadcasting confusion. Let's get more specific. What causes signal pollution? 1. Thought clutter. Overthinking, obsessing, analyzing. These create mental loops that emit low-level static. Even when they're not negative, they interfere with energetic precision. 2. Emotional recycling. Replaying arguments, reliving rejection, resentment that hasn't been released. These emotions linger and code the field with contradiction. 3. Energetic entanglement. Holding on to people, dynamics, or memories that drain you. These bonds drain your field's coherence. 4. Overexposure. Too much content, too much comparison, too much noise from the world around you. Your field begins to carry energy that isn't even yours. 5. Habitual resistance. Doubting your ability to hold desire. Feeling undeserving. Bracing for disappointment. These install microsignals of no into your energetic yes. Each piece of pollution on its own may seem small, but collectively they drown out the signal. And here's the part most people don't understand. You don't need more effort. You need less static. Clarity isn't about doing more, it's about clearing the interference. So how do you detox your field? Start with energetic hygiene. You clean your body. You clean your home. You clean your inbox. But when's the last time you cleaned your field? Here's how. Disconnect from sources that spike anxiety. Pause consumption of content that overwhelms your nervous system. Journal to release looping thoughts instead of mentally revisiting them. Close energetic tabs, unfinished conversations, open wounds, unresolved expectations. Use silence intentionally, not just for peace, but for recalibration. Silence isn't the absence of noise. It's the environment where true signal can re-emerge. Then tune your field daily. Tuning is about alignment, not achievement. Ask, am I broadcasting peace or urgency? Am I holding gratitude or impatience? Is my mind focused or scattered? The more you ask, the more you regulate. And the more you regulate, the clearer your transmission becomes. Your manifestation isn't lost. It's just waiting for your signal to become recognizable again. And that recognition happens the moment the field hears you clearly. Because clarity amplifies magnetism. Clarity reduces delay. Clarity collapses potential into form. Now that you've cleared the noise, you're ready to track its origins. Next, we will examine the dirty trinity behind signal confusion: thoughts, beliefs, and emotional static. You'll see how these three forces sneak beneath the radar and quietly rewrite your transmission until you take back control. You've begun to understand how noise in your field disrupts the transmission. You've seen how old attachments, unchecked thoughts, and unresolved energy scramble what the universe receives from you. But now we need to go straight to the control panel. There are three specific forces that, if left unexamined, continually reintroduce chaos into your signal. They aren't external. They're internal. They live beneath your habits, under your awareness, inside your energetic framework. And they are thoughts, beliefs, and emotional static. This trio, when left unregulated, becomes what sabotages alignment the most. It's not your desires that are flawed. It's the interference created by this trinity. Let's break them down one by one. First, thoughts. Thoughts are electric. They shape neural patterns. They influence behavior. But more importantly, they send signals. And here's what most don't realize. Thoughts don't have to be spoken aloud or believed to broadcast frequency. A fleeting worry is still felt in the field. A mental loop still emits repetition. An imagined scenario still sends out code. The universe isn't filtering based on which thoughts you mean. It reflects what's active, which means your mental environment matters far more than most people admit. You don't have to be perfect, but if your default inner state is scattered, judgmental, future-obsessed, or fear-focused, then that becomes your energetic baseline. And the field responds to that, not your affirmations. Now, beliefs. Beliefs are deeper than thoughts. They don't float on the surface. They live in your operating system. A belief is a conclusion you've accepted as permanent. And it doesn't matter if you remember where it came from. If it's active, it's broadcasting. Here's what that looks like. You think, I'm ready for abundance. But you believe, I always have to work twice as hard. You think, I'm worthy of love. But you believe, people always leave. You think, this time it'll work. But you believe, good things never last for me. Beliefs are powerful because they act as energetic filters. They shape what you expect, what you prepare for, what you unconsciously reject or delay. And since belief carries emotional history, it also amplifies your signal with past emotional energy. So even if the belief is subtle, if it's charged, it dominates the field's response. Finally, emotional static. This is the least discussed and most dangerous of the three. Emotional static is not the emotion itself. It's what happens when emotion is unprocessed, ignored, or mentally bypassed. It builds like pressure. It lingers in the nervous system. It hides in suppressed reactions and unresolved conflict. And it becomes a frequency of distortion. You might be trying to transmit peace, but if resentment lives underneath, the field picks up the tension. You might visualize clarity, but if fear is sitting in your gut, the broadcast weakens. You might even feel excited, but if that excitement sits on top of old pain you haven't acknowledged, the signal becomes unstable. Emotional static creates feedback loops. It repeats unresolved emotions until they're discharged. It keeps pulling in events that match its tone, not your conscious desire. So when thoughts, beliefs, and emotional static work together without your awareness, they create a fractured field. That's when you start getting mixed results, inconsistent signs, false starts, near misses. Not because you're failing, because your signal is layered with contradiction. So how do you clean it up? Start with your mental diet. Watch your thoughts, but not in judgment. Just notice the themes. Are they future-oriented or regret-based? Are they fear-colored or grounded in stability? Are they about possibility or control? You don't need to eliminate every negative thought. But the more dominant your focus, the more dominant your broadcast. Shift your habitual thoughts into neutral clarity. Choose precision over panic. Train your mind to stop searching for problems and start stabilizing the now. Next, interrogate your belief set. Ask, what must I believe is true for my life to look the way it does? What do I believe about what I can receive without losing something else? What have I accepted as just the way it is? Then test those beliefs. Gently, repeatedly. Beliefs begin to break the moment they're questioned with presence. And as they crack, your field clears. Finally, emotional cleansing. Feel what hasn't been felt. Sit with what you've suppressed. Give old emotions room to breathe so they can release. This isn't indulgence. It's energetic housekeeping. Your field must be emotionally available to hold new frequencies. And it can't do that while clogged with static. The dirty trinity is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It shows you where your signal lacks coherence. And once you bring your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions into awareness, your field begins realigning naturally. Now that you've cleaned up the internal contradictions, it's time to address the last hidden form of interference. When your desire turns into attachment and observation mutates into obsession. Next, we will break the loop that blocks receiving, the trap of wanting something too much, and how to unlock freedom by releasing the energetic grip. Desire is powerful. It ignites emotion. It sharpens focus. It amplifies energy. But desire, when left unchecked, turns into obsession. And obsession, in energetic terms, is just attachment wrapped in fear. When you want something so badly that your peace depends on having it, you distort your field. Not because the desire is wrong, but because the frequency of the desire has shifted from creation to control. This is the observer trap. You observe your desire too closely. You keep checking. You keep measuring. You keep watching to see if it's working. And every time you do that, you send the signal, it's not here yet. I don't trust the process. I'll only feel good once this arrives. That signal carries scarcity. It installs pressure. It hijacks the natural flow of manifestation. The universe doesn't punish attachment. It simply reflects it. And what it reflects is not your pure desire, but the fear-infused version of it. You think you're attracting what you want, but you're really transmitting what you're afraid of not getting. Let's make this tangible. You want to land a life-changing opportunity. You visualize it daily. But every time you check your inbox or overanalyze feedback, you reinforce the idea that it hasn't happened yet. That repetition etches "not yet" into your field. And the universe keeps delivering "not yet." Or maybe you want a partner. You do the energetic work. You stay open. But every time someone new appears, your nervous system seizes up. You scan for signs. You try to predict where it's going. You analyze every word. You've left your magnetic center. You're now observing with pressure. And that pressure causes collapse. The problem isn't desire. It's when desire turns into emotional dependence. The need for a specific outcome at a specific time in a specific way becomes a straitjacket for your field. And the more you tighten it, the more your energy contracts. And the more you contract, the less receptive your field becomes. True magnetism doesn't cling. It signals readiness. It doesn't say, I'll be whole when this arrives. It says, I'm already whole. And this is a natural reflection of who I've become. That's the frequency the field responds to. It's not, I want this. It's, this belongs to me because I'm already aligned with it. So how do you break the trap? First, release outcome fixation. Detach not from the desire, but from the need to observe it arriving. Stop looking for proof. Stop timing your progress. Stop analyzing every microshift. Your desire doesn't need your constant surveillance. It needs your trust. Second, stop trying to feel better by chasing the goal. Instead, learn how to feel whole without it. This is not resignation. It's energetic readiness. Wholeness says, this desire can amplify my life, but it doesn't fix me. That's when the field stops reflecting lack and starts matching fulfillment. Third, install neutrality. This doesn't mean indifference. It means emotional spaciousness. Neutrality says, I love this vision, but I'm not holding it so tight that it defines my worth. I trust this process, but I'm not measuring it every 5 minutes. That signal is magnetic, because it holds energy without grasping. It vibrates desire without fear. Desire is pure when it inspires movement, not obsession. When it fuels alignment, not emotional hostage-taking. You can want the thing, but let the wanting lift you, not compress you. Because when your frequency stays expansive, the field has room to deliver. Now that you've broken the obsession loop, you're ready to embody the core state that makes your signal unmistakably powerful. Next, we will unlock the secret to clarity, stillness, and how the absence of noise becomes your greatest energetic tool in realigning the signal stream. You've adjusted the noise. You've neutralized obsession. You've started to refine your internal broadcasting system. But now comes the most underestimated component of magnetic manifestation. Stillness. Not inactivity. Not passivity. Stillness is not about doing nothing. Stillness is about becoming so inwardly unshakable, so deeply centered in your frequency, that your field stops fluctuating with external data. It's in stillness that your signal becomes unmistakable. It's in stillness that the field hears you with full precision. Here's the truth. Most people try to manifest from motion. Mental motion, emotional motion, energetic restlessness. They're always tweaking, chasing, adjusting, fixing. And while alignment does require awareness, hyperactivity is not alignment. It's interference in disguise. It's noise dressed up as control. The universe is not confused by your silence. It's confused by your inconsistency. And nothing brings more consistency to your frequency than inner stillness. Because stillness doesn't mean the absence of desire. It means the absence of resistance. Stillness says, I've already become the version of me who receives. There's nothing left to prove, nothing left to chase, only to allow. That signal is pure. It's free from loops. It's free from emotional distortion. It's free from timeline pressure. Let's be clear. Stillness is not stagnation. Stillness is the energetic signature of trust. It says to the field, I am whole. I don't need the outcome to validate me. I'm in full coherence with what I'm broadcasting. And the field responds to that signal with precision. Here's what most people misunderstand. You can be physically active, moving, building, connecting, while internally anchored in stillness. Stillness doesn't mean external inactivity. It means your core frequency is unmoved by temporary appearances. You're no longer reacting to every delay, detour, or unmet expectation. You're not adjusting your vibration every time life doesn't respond on cue. You're not fidgeting energetically. Your field has found equilibrium. And equilibrium is magnetic. Let's look at how most people disrupt their signal without realizing it. They make progress, then panic. They experience stillness, then doubt it. They get a glimpse of alignment, then question it. Each of those is an exit from the still field. Each of those dilutes the clarity of the signal. Because now the frequency isn't based on embodiment, it's based on outcome surveillance. That surveillance introduces measurement. And as you've already learned, observation too early collapses potential. Stillness says, I trust this enough to stop measuring. I believe in this enough to stop adjusting. I am this whether or not it's visible yet. When you reach that place, your entire field becomes an energetic beacon. You're not yelling into the universe anymore. You're radiating. You've shifted from transmission into resonance. And resonance isn't loud. It's stable. Stillness stabilizes frequency. It locks it in. It holds it long enough for the wave to fully shape. It protects the alignment from collapsing under pressure. This is why you must practice being with stillness, even when your ego wants to act, chase, or fix, especially then. Because the more uncomfortable you are with stillness, the more power it holds for you. Now here's the beautiful part. The moment you anchor into stillness, feedback from the field starts to accelerate. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped distorting the frequency with motion. You stopped signaling panic. You stopped changing the dial. You stopped leaking energy into timelines that didn't match your current signal. So what does stillness feel like when embodied? It feels like quiet confidence. It feels like emotional spaciousness. It feels like unbothered certainty. You're not tuning out of life. You're tuning out of lack. Stillness becomes your calibration point. And every moment you return to it, you reinforce your field. From here, you're ready to access the most potent creative tool available. The ability to feel the reality before it becomes real. Next, we will decode exactly how to pre-activate your desired timeline by locking into the emotion of the outcome before it exists, and why this single shift flips the entire quantum equation in your favor. The field doesn't speak in sentences. It doesn't respond to logic. It reflects frequency. And the most powerful way to shift frequency is this. Feel it before it's real. This is not about fantasy. It's about emotional coding. The quantum field listens to your dominant emotional state. It doesn't ask what you want. It reads what you're broadcasting now. So if you can access the feeling of already having before it's physical, then the field has no choice but to echo it. Not out of magic, out of coherence. But here's the catch. Most people don't feel before it's real. They wait. They wait for evidence. They wait for validation. They wait for the external world to give them permission to feel fulfilled. And by waiting, they delay the very experience that would trigger the outcome. Because emotion isn't just feedback. It's a code. It sends instructions to the field. And if the code says, it's not here yet, then the field reflects that perfectly. Let's break this down. You want financial freedom, but emotionally you still feel burdened. You want deep love, but emotionally you feel guarded. You want creative expansion, but emotionally you feel small. It doesn't matter what you want. It matters what you're feeling as your baseline. If you can shift the feeling to match the reality you're calling in, the field reorganizes around that version of you. That's how manifestation actually works. So how do you feel before it's real without faking it? You create emotional rehearsal, not visualization alone, not mental scripting, but full-body rehearsal of what it would feel like if this reality were your norm. You sit in the frequency not to get it, but because it's who you've become. You feel the safety of success, the ease of abundance, the lightness of love, the joy of being seen, and you feel it now, before the evidence, without the proof. This is how you trick the field. Because once your emotional state broadcasts, this is real, the field calibrates to reflect it. Let's be precise, this isn't about pretending. Pretending doesn't carry signal integrity. This is about activating the signal as truth, even if it hasn't arrived yet physically. Your nervous system must believe it's safe to feel it, which means you must go gently. Don't force the feeling. Invite it, breathe into it, install it over time. Frequency locks in through repetition, not emotional spikes. Here's a simple key. Your emotional baseline becomes your energetic thermostat. If you're feeling excitement but constantly return to anxiety, your signal resets to anxiety. If you're feeling gratitude but default to pressure, your signal reflects pressure. So the goal is emotional consistency, not intensity. Feel it often, not just once. Feel it softly, not just loudly. Feel it fully, not just intellectually. Let's look at how this plays out practically. You want to align with the timeline of overflow. You don't just visualize money in the bank. You feel the lightness in your chest. You feel the safety of knowing all is handled. You feel the quiet confidence that says, I am supported. Then you stay in that frequency not to manipulate results but to maintain resonance. And the field responds not to the number, but to the emotion coded into your energy. Or say you're calling in love. Don't just see the relationship. Feel the calm of being chosen. Feel the warmth of being seen. Feel the security of connection. Now, hold that state. Let your body believe it. Let your heart feel it without needing to see it first. That's how the mirror turns. Feeling before it's real doesn't mean ignoring current circumstances. It means choosing a dominant emotional state despite them. It means your inner world is no longer coded by reaction, but by intention. And when your intention is felt, not just thought, the signal amplifies. The longer you can hold that signal, without checking, adjusting, or doubting, the more stable your new reality becomes. Because you're not waiting for the new timeline. You're already living it energetically. The rest is just form catching up to frequency. Now that you've activated the power of emotional encoding, you're ready to master one of the most misunderstood energy blocks, judgment. Next, we will expose why the things you judge, even subconsciously, are the very things your field pushes away, and how releasing judgment restores your full mirror power. The quantum field doesn't speak your language. It doesn't operate by your rules. It doesn't care what you think you deserve. It reflects what you are in resonance with. And one of the most silent yet potent disruptors of that resonance is judgment. Not just judgment of others. Judgment of circumstances. Judgment of yourself. Judgment of desires. Judgment of outcomes. Every judgment you hold is an energetic rejection. And rejection, when active, breaks the mirror. Let's be exact. The field acts as a mirror, not a judge. It reflects your inner world with perfect accuracy. But if your inner world is full of disapproval, disconnection, and chronic rejection of certain experiences, people, or versions of yourself, then your field isn't clean. It's segmented. And segmented energy doesn't reflect wholeness. It reflects fragmentation. Here's how this works energetically. Say you want wealth. You've done the visualizing. You've cleared your beliefs. You've set your frequency. But deep down, you resent people with money. You think they're greedy, unethical, shallow. That hidden judgment is a rejection. And rejection equals resistance. You're telling the field, I want this thing, but not what I associate with it. I want abundance, but I reject the identity I believe it comes with. Now your signal is split. You're broadcasting a contradictory frequency. Desire on the surface, repulsion underneath. The result? Stalled manifestation, delayed outcomes, unclear mirrors. The same happens with love. You say you want deep connection, but you judge people who are emotionally expressive. You want commitment, but you look down on vulnerability. You want intimacy, but secretly associate it with weakness or loss of freedom. Those judgments, even if unspoken, are being felt in the field. Because you can't attract what you energetically reject. But here's the part people overlook. Judgment isn't always loud. It doesn't always sound like criticism. It often shows up as discomfort, as resistance, as the subtle pulling away from something before you even realize it. And if you never see it, you can't clean it. So the mirror remains cloudy. Now let's talk about self-judgment. This is the most powerful form of rejection there is. When you judge yourself, you split your energy into acceptable and unacceptable parts. You approve of the high-vibe version of you, but reject the messy, uncertain, emotional you. And by doing that, you fragment your field. The universe can't respond to a half-broadcast. So it keeps sending you opportunities to reintegrate. It keeps triggering the very parts you're rejecting. Not to punish you, but to make you whole again. Judgment limits your signal. It creates frequency filters. It says, I only accept outcomes that look like this. I only approve of versions of me that act like this. I only validate desires that feel safe and polished. But the field doesn't operate under those filters. It's full spectrum, infinite, wild. It wants to send you the highest version of your desire, not the safe one, the rehearsed one, the edited one. So the more you judge, the more you narrow the mirror. Let's shift this. Start identifying what you're subtly pushing away. Notice when you feel resistance. Notice who triggers you. Notice what you find yourself criticizing in others, and how that relates to what you've disowned in yourself. Because often, the thing you judge is the thing you've been taught to suppress. And what's suppressed can't radiate clearly. Next, practice energetic neutrality. Not tolerance. Not forced positivity. Neutrality. It means this: I don't need to label this as wrong or right. I can let it be part of the whole. That includes your own moods, your own imperfections, your own fears. The moment you stop judging your shadow, your light expands. Your field opens. The mirror reflects more. Now let's take this even further. When you stop judging others, you gain access to frequencies you couldn't hold before. You unlock ease, compassion, relatability. You stop rejecting entire energetic bandwidths. And that means you can now receive what was previously blocked. This isn't about becoming a saint. It's about becoming available. Because the universe responds to availability, not performance. Now that you've learned how judgment fragments your field, it's time to confront the deepest imprint of all. The emotional past that continues broadcasting long after events have ended. Next, we will go into the root frequency that shapes your present without your consent, and how to finally collapse the past to stop looping what you haven't yet healed. There's a reason why your signal doesn't always match your vision, why your desire feels aligned, yet the feedback from the universe keeps echoing the old. It's because your present isn't being shaped by who you're becoming. It's being shaped by what you haven't released. The past isn't behind you, it's in you. And unless it's fully collapsed, it keeps looping through your field, subtly informing what you expect, what you believe, and what you unconsciously call in. This isn't about drama. It's about energetic residue. Your thoughts may be future-focused. Your words may be full of intention. But if your emotional body is still carrying the imprint of abandonment, betrayal, loss, shame, or fear, those signals override the new programming. Because the field doesn't respond to what you want most. It responds to what you haven't resolved. Let's define the loop. A loop happens when an unhealed emotional charge becomes a repetitive broadcast. You meet someone new, but the loop of past rejection activates. You launch a project, but the loop of "no one sees me" plays in the background. You get close to success, but the "it always slips away" imprint jumps in. The universe doesn't judge this. It simply mirrors the most active energy. And loops are always active until they're closed. This is why healing isn't optional. It's essential to signal clarity. You can't fake coherence. You can't outrun what's still active in your subconscious. You must bring it forward, feel it, integrate it, and then collapse it. Collapsing doesn't mean forgetting. It means removing the charge. It means updating your field to no longer carry the energetic memory of what hurt you. Here's how to know what's still broadcasting. You keep repeating patterns with different faces. You find yourself preparing for pain, even in joyful situations. You feel emotional weight where clarity should exist. You can't sustain alignment without crashing into old memories. These aren't random. They're instructions. They point directly to what needs to be collapsed. To collapse the past, you must first stop avoiding it. You must stop pretending the wounds don't matter. Because what you suppress becomes your shadow broadcast. And the field hears shadows, even when you don't. Second, identify the emotion trapped in the event, not just the event itself. Ask, what did I believe about myself in that moment? What did I decide about life? What did I feel that never got fully processed? Then feel it, fully, without flinching, without analysis. Let the body speak. Let the emotion move. That movement is the discharge. That's the collapse. Third, update the identity. The past version of you made a decision in pain. You must replace it with a decision in power. You say, that happened, but I'm not living from it anymore. I learned from it, but I don't broadcast it anymore. This is how you shift the frequency of your story. And when the story shifts, the mirror does too. Most people try to build a new reality on top of old identity. But if the identity hasn't been healed, it keeps leaking distortion into the signal. You don't need to destroy the past. You need to integrate it. Integration says, I accept what was. I choose what is. And the field responds to integration with precision. This is why you can feel deeply aligned and still not manifest. Because your past is still active, still encoding your signal with fear, shame, or grief. The moment you collapse that signal, the future begins responding differently. The field updates the moment you update. Now that you've collapsed the emotional residue that was looping your past into your present, you're ready to upgrade your internal signal from identity-based to frequency-based. Next, we will step into one of the most pivotal transformations in your field, redefining who you are as a vibration, not a personality. Up to now, you've been working with your frequency. You've tuned in. You've cleaned up the interference. You've felt before it was real. But there's something deeper still, a layer so foundational that it determines everything you broadcast, often without your awareness. That layer is identity. Not who you believe yourself to be in theory, but who you are in frequency. Because your identity is not a concept, it's a vibration. And the universe doesn't respond to the story you tell about yourself. It responds to the energetic blueprint you live from. So the question isn't, who are you? The question is, what does your field believe you are? Because that belief is shaping every signal. It's driving every outcome. It's the lens that turns potential into pattern. Most people think identity is fixed. They think it's made of traits, behaviors, or history. They think it's built over time through what they've done and what they've experienced. But identity isn't built, it's chosen. It's sustained through energetic repetition. And that repetition becomes expectation. And that expectation becomes your dominant frequency. Let's break this down. Say your identity is the one who has to try harder than everyone else. Even if you consciously affirm ease, your field still carries the vibration of effort. You'll sabotage ease just to stay consistent with who you believe yourself to be. Or your identity says, I'm overlooked. Then you'll unconsciously dim, pull back, or attract dismissive energy, because the field mirrors your identity, not your desire. The truth is this, your life right now is a reflection of your current identity frequency. Not your intentions, not your potential, just your active broadcast. And your identity is the broadcasting tower. You can shift your beliefs. You can rewrite your emotions. But if the identity underneath it all stays the same, your field resets itself to the old signal every time. Because identity is the core frequency, the signal under the signal. Now ask yourself, what is the identity I've been living from? Is it based on possibility or protection? Is it coded in expansion or survival? Is it chosen or inherited from conditioning, trauma, or past limitation? Because if you didn't consciously create your identity, then you're broadcasting someone else's vibration. And the universe can't respond to the real you if you've never installed that version in the field. Here's how to shift it. First, name the identity you've been living from. Not the one you want to have, the one that's been running the show. It might sound like, I'm the responsible one. I'm the helper. I'm the underdog. I'm the one who gets things done but is always drained. I'm the one who succeeds but always loses something in return. Don't judge it. Expose it. Because what you bring into the light, you take out of the loop. Next, ask, what is the cost of continuing to be this version? What does this identity block me from receiving? How is this identity keeping me safe while keeping me small? Then choose again. Not by repeating affirmations, by feeling into a new frequency. Say to yourself, I now broadcast a different version of me, not to perform, but to align. I now release the identity I inherited, and I tune into the version of me the field can actually respond to. This is how you start living not from memory, but from resonance. You're not here to prove who you've been. You're here to broadcast who you truly are beneath the programming. The moment your frequency of identity changes, the universe reshapes its response. Because it's not trying to reward your desire. It's reflecting your self-concept. And when the self-concept shifts, everything else realigns. Now that you've recognized how your identity becomes your default signal, it's time to take the leap, to stop manifesting from the personality you've maintained and start creating from the pure field of possibility. Next, we will explore how your attachment to personality traits limits what you can receive, and how becoming a portal, not a person, frees your field entirely. You've done the inner work. You've stabilized your frequency. You've started to shift the identity you've carried for years. But now, the field is asking for something bigger, something beyond refinement. It's asking for a release of personality-based manifestation. Because most people are still trying to manifest from their ego identity, the set of traits they've polished and protected their whole lives. But the quantum field doesn't care about your personality. It doesn't respond to how consistent, responsible, or nice you've been. It responds to energetic openness. And personality, no matter how evolved, is a limitation if it becomes your energetic boundary. Here's what you need to know. Your personality is a collection of stories. It's a survival strategy. It's a structure you built to feel safe, known, accepted. But that structure often becomes a prison, because the field isn't reacting to your carefully curated image. It's responding to what's possible through you, and possibility can't flow through a fixed personality. Let's go deeper. When you say things like, "I'm not the kind of person who," "I've always been the one who," "It's just who I am," you're not describing truth. You're enforcing limitation. You're coding your field with a boundary, saying, "I'll receive, but only within this framework." And the universe says, "Okay," then responds only within the framework you've approved. You want to manifest abundance, but your personality is the humble helper who's uncomfortable with attention. You want to magnetize impact, but your personality is the perfectionist who fears mistakes. You want to receive love, but your personality is the self-sufficient lone wolf. See the contradiction? Your desire lives outside your identity, but you keep asking the field to deliver new outcomes to an old version of you. It won't, because it can't. You're not available for what you won't allow through your personality. This is the shift. Stop being a person. Start being a portal. Stop trying to manifest from your labels. Start transmitting from pure frequency. The field doesn't respond to kind, driven, helpful, or hardworking. It responds to aligned, open, clear, and ready. Possibility doesn't speak in resume traits. It flows where the field is most unconstrained. This isn't about abandoning who you are. It's about expanding beyond who you think you have to be. You are not your temperament. You are not your conditioning. You are not your old role in the family, team, or society. You are a conductor. You are a signal station. You are an infinite access point for frequency. And when you drop the need to act like yourself, you give the universe space to move through you in wild, unexpected, miraculous ways. So how do you stop manifesting from personality? First, get aware of the traits you've over-identified with. Ask, what roles do I use to feel safe? What adjectives do I cling to out of fear of being misunderstood? What limitations have I hidden inside the phrase, "That's just how I am"? Name them, see them, release them. You don't have to stop being reliable, empathetic, or strategic. You just don't need to identify as those things. Let them flow when needed, not define who you are. Second, make room for contradiction. Let yourself be bold and uncertain, powerful and soft, visionary and messy, because possibility is chaotic. And if your personality demands consistency, the field can't access your full range. The more you allow contradiction, the more dimensional your signal becomes. And dimensional signals magnetize more. Third, become a neutral vessel. This means releasing the need to be someone in order to receive. You don't need to earn alignment through being nice, patient, or polished. The moment you stop trying to manifest as a persona and start broadcasting as a frequency, the field unlocks. You stop attracting what fits your identity and start attracting what matches your capacity. Your personality is not your destiny. It's a costume, a convenience, a former home, But your true home is fluid, vast, and unbound. You are here to transmit, not perform. You are here to hold signal, not image. You are here to embody possibility, not perfection. And the moment you choose that truth, the field stops responding to your past and starts moving through your presence. Now that you've dropped identity-based manifestation, it's time to fine-tune the source of the signal itself. You. Next, we will uncover why manifestation techniques don't work without energetic integrity, and how to finally align your field so purely that the method becomes irrelevant. You've learned the language of frequency. You've let go of performance. You've begun shifting from identity into possibility. But now we reach a turning point. A truth that strips away every hack, shortcut, and surface-level technique that's ever failed to deliver. The truth is this: you are the signal. Not your vision board. Not your scripting journal. Not your 5 a.m. affirmations. Those are tools, amplifiers, reminders. But if the source behind them, you, is not broadcasting in coherence, then no tool will override your core frequency. Let's be clear. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you are. Energetic integrity is the alignment between your internal state and your external signal. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being high-vibe 24/7. It's about coherence, consistency, clarity. It's about whether your desire, belief, emotion, and embodiment are all transmitting the same message. If you say, "I am ready for abundance," but your body is still bracing for scarcity. If you affirm, "I trust my path," but your nervous system is vibrating in hypervigilance. If you visualize success, but secretly carry guilt for receiving more than others, that is not an aligned signal. That's a scrambled transmission, and the field reflects it exactly. This is why some people practice every manifestation technique and still feel stuck. Because the technique isn't the transmitter. You are. And if your field isn't integrated, no method can mask that. Energetic integrity means this: your thoughts, feelings, expectations, and actions are all speaking the same vibrational language. No hidden no. No silent fear saying not yet. No dual broadcast confusing the field. When you reach that place, the technique becomes irrelevant because the signal is clear. Now here's where it gets real. Energetic integrity requires self-honesty. It requires asking, am I actually aligned with what I say I want? Do I trust myself to hold it if it comes? Is there any part of me still scared to receive it? These are not surface questions. These are signal diagnostics, and every honest answer brings you closer to coherence. Let's be specific. If you're manifesting love but still believe deep down you're too much or not enough, your field is not inviting connection. If you want wealth but associate it with corruption, your signal blocks prosperity. If you want peace but thrive on chaos for a sense of identity, your field keeps attracting the very noise you claim to hate. These contradictions aren't failures, they're invitations. Invitations to come back into full resonance. So how do you restore energetic integrity? Step 1. Pause the technique. Stop outsourcing your power to tools that bypass your internal misalignment. Put down the rituals until your energy is stabilized. Step 2. Sit in your own frequency. No scripting, no fixing, no trying. Just feel, what am I actually broadcasting right now? Not what do I want to feel, what is my field actually saying? Step 3. Stabilize the feeling. Not through force, through truth. If your real feeling is fear, breathe into it. If it's doubt, acknowledge it. If it's sadness, let it be felt. Because once a feeling is felt, it can move. And once it moves, your frequency updates. Now choose a new signal. Not mentally, energetically. Ask yourself, what does the version of me who already has this feel like? Can I embody even 5% of that state right now in this breath? Can I hold that resonance long enough to become it? That's alignment. That's transmission. That's power. When you step into full energetic integrity, the universe recognizes you immediately. You're not trying to manipulate outcomes. You are the outcome. And the field doesn't hesitate with coherence. It responds because it must. Now that you've understood that you, not your methods, are the signal source, it's time to decode one of the most silent blocks of all: the mismatch between desire and frequency. Next, we will examine how wanting something isn't enough if your dominant vibration contradicts it, and how to close that gap without effort, but through signal recalibration. Desire is powerful. It's the spark of new timelines, the impulse of creation, the invitation to expansion. But desire alone is not what moves the universe. Desire is the initiation. Frequency is the instruction. And most people confuse the two. They think wanting something should be enough. But in the quantum field, your frequency, not your longing, is the code that determines what shows up. Let's put this plainly. You can desire something deeply, but if your dominant frequency is fear, doubt, shame, or lack, the field doesn't respond to your wish. It responds to your signal. That's the mismatch. It's when your inner state and your outer goal are not on the same channel. And this mismatch creates static, delays, reversals, or complete energetic silence. Here's how it plays out. You want wealth, but you vibrate in scarcity. You want freedom, but you vibrate in obligation. You want deep love, but you vibrate in self-protection. And then you wonder why nothing's shifting. It's not that you don't deserve it. It's that you're not matching it. The field isn't emotional. It's responsive. And it can only give you what aligns with your dominant state. Now let's define dominant state. It's not what you feel during a meditation or a peak moment. It's what you feel when you're not trying. Your background frequency, your emotional baseline, your unspoken truth. That's what the universe hears, and that's what it mirrors. So how do you resolve the mismatch? Step 1. Separate the want from the signal. Ask, what do I want? What am I actually broadcasting about it? If the answers don't match, you've identified the gap. Step 2. Locate the dominant emotional tone. This is not surface-level mood. It's the energy you carry when you're alone, when no one is watching, when you're not performing. Is it worry? Is it frustration? Is it impatience? Is it numbness? Identify it. Name it. Own it. Because until you do, it keeps running your broadcast. Step 3. Bring your body into the equation. Desire lives in the mind. Frequency lives in the body. So if your mind wants something but your body is still in a contracted, defensive, or armored state, you're not congruent. Your body must feel safe receiving. Your nervous system must believe the outcome is real. Otherwise, the mismatch stays unresolved. Step 4. Stabilize the new frequency before the result. Don't wait for evidence to relax. Don't wait for confirmation to open. Become the vibration now. Live the feeling now. Act from it, not toward it. This flips the field. Because now you're not asking the universe to change. You're embodying the change and letting the field follow. This is alignment. And alignment is not intensity. It's consistency of signal over time. That consistency removes the mismatch. And once it's gone, the field becomes magnetic again. Now that you've uncovered the gap between desire and actual vibration, it's time to bring in a language the field loves: coherence. Next, we will decode how emotional and energetic coherence creates the most powerful transmissions, and how to step into harmony that not only attracts, but sustains, the outcomes you've been preparing to receive. You've adjusted your desire. You've recalibrated your vibration. You've started to close the gap between wanting and being. But there's a signal even more powerful than alignment, more potent than emotional charge, more attractive than positivity. That signal is coherence. And coherence isn't just clarity. It's harmony. When your thoughts, emotions, and body all say the same thing. At the same time, you are broadcasting a frequency the universe can't ignore. Let's be specific. Coherence means your system is synchronized. It means your heart rate and breath are in rhythm. Your thoughts and feelings are congruent. Your nervous system isn't fighting your desires. It means your signal isn't bouncing between mixed states. It's steady. And steadiness creates trust in the field. The universe doesn't need you to be high vibe. It needs you to be consistent. And consistency is impossible without coherence. Because without coherence, your signal stutters. One moment you feel certain, next you hesitate. One moment you broadcast worthiness, next you spiral into old fear. That oscillation doesn't confuse the universe. It just delays the mirror. Here's why. When your system is incoherent, the field senses conflict, internal contradiction, energetic noise. So it pauses response, not to punish you, but to wait for a clear instruction. And clarity doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from coherence. Let's break it down even further. You're not just sending out thoughts. You're sending out a pattern. That pattern includes heart rhythm, breath tempo, brainwave frequency, emotional tone, posture and tension, expectation coded in your subconscious. And when those patterns contradict each other, your signal fractures. It sends a mixed message. And the field never forces clarity. It mirrors what it receives. Now, coherence is not the absence of emotion. It's not neutrality or flatness. Coherence is synchronized emotion. It's emotional energy flowing in a single, uninterrupted current. You can be in grief and still be coherent if you're not resisting the grief. You can be in excitement and still be coherent if you're not doubting it halfway. Coherence is presence. It's when you are with yourself fully. That's what the field reads as stability. Here's how people break coherence without realizing it. They visualize abundance, but feel scarcity in their breath. They affirm love, but hold tension in their chest. They speak certainty, but their gut is tight with fear. All of that is incoherence. And that distortion is louder than the words being spoken. The field reflects the dominant pattern, and tension is louder than language. So how do you build coherence? Start with breath. It's the master regulator of your nervous system. When you breathe slowly and rhythmically, you tell your system, it's safe. You can receive. There is no emergency. That signal alone changes the shape of your broadcast. Next, bring your thoughts and emotions into agreement. Not through force, through choice. If your mind says, it's working, but your body says, it never does, pause and ask, what needs to be heard? What emotion needs to complete its cycle? When thought and feeling meet each other honestly, coherence is restored. Now include the body. Coherence is not a mind game. It's an embodied state. Stretch, move, ground your feet, speak from your core. Let your actions reflect what your energy says. Don't just affirm that you're safe, move like someone who is. This is how coherence locks in. Thought plus emotion plus action equals single signal. And that signal doesn't just manifest, it sustains. Coherence doesn't guarantee instant results. It guarantees magnetic consistency. It stabilizes your frequency long enough for the wave to form fully. No more collapsing outcomes too early. No more fragmenting timelines with anxiety. Just clear, steady, unified signal. Now that you've learned that coherence is the universe's preferred language, let's move to the most powerful organ in your body that speaks it fluently, your heart. Next, we'll explore why your heart signal is not only stronger than your brain's, it's also the field's favorite transmitter for rapid quantum response. You've been tuning your signal. You've started broadcasting with coherence. But the question remains, what part of you sends the clearest, strongest frequency into the field? Not your thoughts, not your willpower. It's your heart. Not metaphorically, not spiritually, literally. The heart emits the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body. And that field extends 5 to 12 feet beyond your physical body. It envelopes you and transmits constantly. Here's what science has confirmed. The heart's electrical component is up to 100 times stronger than the brain's. Its magnetic field is up to 5,000 times stronger. This means your heart is your primary signal transmitter. It's not just pumping blood. It's communicating with the quantum field. All the time. So when your heart and brain are in disagreement, guess which one the universe listens to? The heart. Every time. You can think all the affirmations in the world. But if your heart is tight, closed, or dissonant, the field hears that and mirrors it. This is why people say they believe in a vision, but still feel stuck. Their belief is mental. Their heart is uncertain. The heart doesn't lie. It doesn't speak theory. It speaks feeling. And feeling is what the field reads first. Now let's get precise. The heart responds to certain states with increased coherence. Gratitude, appreciation, compassion, care. These emotional states sync your entire nervous system. They also amplify your broadcast. So when you feel genuine gratitude, not performance but presence, your signal strengthens instantly. Not because gratitude is positive, but because gratitude creates order. And the field recognizes order. This is why techniques like feel it before it's real are only effective when the feeling starts in the heart. If the mind tries to force the feeling, the field detects distortion. But when the heart genuinely activates emotion, the field stabilizes and reflects. Now, what blocks the heart? Closed loops, old pain, emotional armoring. If you've protected your heart to avoid disappointment, betrayal, or grief, then your signal is muted. And muted signals don't magnetize. So you don't just need to feel good. You need to feel open. Here's how to reopen your heart field. Step 1. Acknowledge the closure. Feel the places in your chest that feel dense, tight, numb. Don't force it open. Just witness it. Awareness is the beginning of reconnection. Step 2. Create safety. Your heart won't open under pressure. Breathe. Soften your shoulders. Use touch. Place your hand on your chest and send safety signals to your body. Step 3. Remember resonance. Think of a moment, not an idea, a real moment, where you felt deeply seen, safe, or loved. Let your heart feel that. You don't need to manufacture a new emotion. You only need to remember coherence. The more often you enter heart coherence, the more stable your signal becomes. You move from thought-based broadcasting to full-field transmission. And that's when the universe responds. Because your heart doesn't just send signals. It shapes timelines. It's the seat of desire, intuition, magnetism. And when it's open, everything aligns faster. Now that you understand the heart is your most powerful transmitter, it's time to fine-tune how to use that internal GPS to navigate the field with accuracy. Next, we will discover how to use your body as a real-time feedback device. A yes/no compass that confirms when your signal is aligned or fragmented. You've heard it said, trust your gut. Listen to your body. Feel it in your bones. These aren't metaphors. They're literal instructions for decoding signal integrity. Because while your mind can lie, spin, and justify, your body can't. It reflects your alignment in real time. And when you learn to read it, you unlock a guidance system more accurate than logic, more immediate than intuition. You activate the biofeedback loop, your built-in signal scanner. What is biofeedback? It's your body's energetic response to internal truth or distortion. It's the sensation, vibration, tension, or flow that tells you, without words, whether your field is aligned or fragmented. And once you learn how to listen to it, the guesswork disappears. You'll stop asking, am I aligned? Is this the right move? Why isn't it working? And start feeling your way through the field, one signal at a time. Let's get exact. Your body speaks in yes/no language. Yes equals openness, expansion, softening, resonance. No equals tightness, contraction, buzzing, shutting down. When you're aligned with a choice, vision, or truth, your body feels safe. Your breath deepens. Your chest lifts. Your nervous system slows. When you're misaligned, your system tightens. Your gut clenches. Your jaw locks. You feel urgency, friction, or subtle dread. That is the biofeedback loop. And it's always on. Most people override it. They think, this feels wrong, but I should do it. My stomach's in knots, but I have to push through. This feels off, but maybe I'm just scared. They ignore their real-time signal and then wonder why results stall. But the body never lies. It tells you exactly when you've stepped out of coherence. So how do you tune into this loop deliberately? Step 1. Stillness. Not meditation, just stillness. Sit, breathe. Drop attention from your head into your body. Ask, where am I broadcasting from right now? Again, jaw, neck, chest, gut, pelvis, hands. Feel for sensation, not story. Tight, tingly, cold, open, numb? Don't interpret it. Just register it. This is your first signal. Step 2. Introduce a frequency. Bring in a thought or vision. Say it internally. For example, I am ready to receive $100,000. I am aligned with deep, healthy love. I am fully supported in this new project. Now scan again. Did your body open or contract? Did your breath deepen or pause? Did your chest expand or did your stomach clench? That reaction is truth. Not truth in the cosmic sense, truth in the now. It tells you where your signal currently sits. It reveals the frequency your field is still holding. If it opens, anchor the feeling. Repeat the phrase while breathing into the openness. Let the signal stabilize. If it contracts, don't resist it. Ask, what part of me doesn't believe this yet? What memory or meaning is blocking this signal? Where is the conflict? This isn't a flaw. It's a feedback window. It shows you exactly where to recalibrate. Step 3. Recalibration. If you feel resistance, don't try to override it. Bring compassion. Say, I hear you, to the part that's scared, to the version of you still in protection. Then slowly reintroduce the aligned signal. Not with force, with resonance. Breathe in the energy of safety, trust, and soft confidence. Let your body lead. The field responds when your body feels ready, not when your mind says it's time. This loop works in every decision, intention, and transmission. Before sending an email, feel. Before saying yes to a partnership, scan. Before launching a vision, breathe into the body. You'll feel truth long before you can explain it. And when you follow the yes and honor the no, you begin living by signal, not strategy. Now, take this loop into daily life. Make it a habit, compass, a non-negotiable. This is not emotionality. It's precision. It's how high-frequency beings move. By feel, by frequency, by embodied truth. Now that you've activated the real-time alignment detector inside your own body, it's time to explore one of the most misunderstood forces in the manifestation process: doubt. Next, we will uncover how doubt can become a more powerful manifester than belief, and how to neutralize its impact before it installs itself as your dominant frequency. You've been taught to believe, to visualize, to affirm. But here's the inconvenient truth. Doubt manifests faster than belief. Not because doubt is more powerful, but because doubt is more emotionally charged. And the quantum field responds not to hope, but to intensity. Not to repetition, but to energetic signal strength. And doubt, left unchecked, is a potent frequency. Let's be blunt. Your doubt has likely been manifesting behind the scenes for years. It shows up in the just-in-case precautions, in the mental rehearsals for things going wrong, in the emotional bracing before something even happens. These are all broadcasts. They tell the field, I expect disruption. I'm preparing for loss. I don't actually believe this will hold. And the field says, as you wish. Now understand this. Doubt is not evil. It's not sabotage. It's a request for safety. It's your system saying, I've been disappointed before. I've trusted and been hurt. I want this, but I'm scared of what it might cost. The problem isn't the doubt itself. It's that most people deny it, suppress it, fight it, which only makes it stronger. Because what you suppress, you energize. And energized doubt becomes your dominant signal. Belief is a quiet frequency. It's calm, open, spacious. Doubt is charged, noisy, reactive. It flares in the nervous system. It creates microreactions in your field. And those reactions shape what the field mirrors back. So what do? You don't crush doubt. You integrate it. You welcome the part of you that's scared. You listen to the frequency underneath the thought. Because often, doubt isn't saying this won't happen. It's saying, will I be safe if it does? Will I lose connection if I succeed? Will I know how to hold it once I have it? These are valid, but they must be brought to the field consciously, not broadcast unconsciously. Step 1. Name the doubt. Not just intellectually, emotionally, somatically. Feel it in your system. Locate the tension, the hesitation, the loop. Then say, without flinching, I see you. You're trying to protect me. This removes resistance. And once resistance drops, the signal calms. Step 2. De-energize the doubt. How? By removing the story from the sensation. Don't debate the thought. Feel the frequency. If you're doubting that money will come, drop the thought and sit with the contraction in your chest. Breathe into it. Stay with it until it shifts. When you remove the charge, you remove the signal. Step 3. Install neutral expectation. This is not forced positivity. It's signal neutrality. Say to yourself, I don't need to force belief. I just need to stop energizing fear. This returns you to 0 point, a neutral, magnetic space where the field can finally hear what you actually desire without interference. Step 4. Choose quiet certainty. This isn't hype. It's not performance. It's a calm inner knowing. If it's aligned, it will form. If I'm clear, the field will respond. This signal is stronger than forced confidence. It's quiet but unshakable, and that steadiness erodes doubt faster than any affirmation ever could. The goal is not to become doubtless. It's to become undisturbed, to let the signal of your true self be louder than the static of your old fear. And when that happens, manifestation becomes precision. Not luck, not chance. Precision. Now that you've disarmed the most common hidden disruptor of your frequency, it's time to understand one of the most counterintuitive forces in manifestation: delay. Next, we'll decode why the quantum field sometimes appears slow, and how the 17-second rule and delay gap are designed to test not your faith, but your signal fidelity. You've recalibrated doubt. You've started feeling alignment from within. But now, a different kind of resistance shows up, not emotional, not mental, temporal. You're asking, why isn't it here yet? Why the delay? What am I doing wrong? But the delay isn't punishment. It's signal validation. Because the field isn't just responding to what you start broadcasting. It's waiting to see what you'll keep broadcasting without proof. This is where the 17-second rule comes in. Not as a gimmick, as a window, a timing key. Let's demystify it. The 17-second principle states that when you hold a single, clear, emotionally backed thought for just 17 seconds, your signal becomes strong enough to attract a matching frequency. If you hold it for another 17 seconds, momentum builds. By the 68-second mark, you've initiated an energetic combustion. A focused enough stream that begins to organize energy in your favor. But here's what most people miss. They don't hold the signal. They send a pulse, then doubt it. They start to vibrate it, then collapse it with impatience. They hit 17 seconds of power and follow it with 2 hours of internal resistance. The net signal? Confusion, delay, static. The universe is not ignoring you, it's stabilizing you. It's asking, can you hold this frequency without needing proof right away? Can you keep broadcasting while nothing seems to change? Because the delay is not absence. It's alignment time, a stretch of non-evidence that tests your signal fidelity. In quantum terms, every outcome exists as a potential wave. When you begin to focus, visualize, and feel, you energize the wave. You give it shape. But if you break coherence before the wave stabilizes, you collapse it prematurely, and the field resets. Not because you failed, because your timeline never fully anchored. Let's reframe the delay. It's not a gap in response. It's a reflection of how long it takes you to maintain alignment without needing results. The faster you align and stay aligned, the shorter the delay. The more unstable your frequency, the longer it takes to build momentum. This is not mystical, it's mechanical. The quantum field mirrors consistency, not flashes of desire, not surges of hope, but sustained broadcast. Let's test it. Pick one outcome. Now hold a single, emotionally backed thought about it for 17 seconds. Not a wish, a knowing, a state. Feel it, then double it. Another 17 seconds. Stay in the signal. Hold it like it's already yours. Notice what happens in your body. Calm, confidence, clarity. That's the wave forming. Right now, in your field. Now, the next 24 hours are the key. Because after you activate the signal, the field checks. Will you waver? Will you wait for signs? Will you retract if nothing shows instantly? This is where most people reset their broadcast. They say, I did it right. Why didn't it work? I felt it, but nothing happened. And with those thoughts, they undo the entire transmission. So what's the solution? Practice signal indifference. This doesn't mean apathy. It means steadiness. You send the signal. You feel it as real. Then you release the need for outcome. Not because you gave up, but because you already embodied it. And embodiment doesn't chase. It broadcasts and trusts. The 17-second rule is a training tool. Not magic. Not a loophole. It's a way to discipline your energy. To teach your system how to stabilize feeling before evidence. Because that's how the field works. Stabilize first, then receive. Now that you understand how signal stabilization relates to delay, you're ready for the next layer, removing the hidden force that stretches time, resistance. Next, we'll uncover how resistance isn't a block. It's a friction, and how collapsing it brings your timeline rushing toward you without force or control. You've started honoring the delay. You've begun to stabilize the signal. Now we go deeper beyond patience, beyond practice, into something far more powerful. Time collapse. Not through effort, through the elimination of resistance. Because resistance is the real reason you feel stuck. Not the universe, not karma, not timing, just resistance. And resistance is anything that argues with your own signal. Let's break this down. The moment you send a desire into the field, it begins forming. That outcome has a timeline. But every doubt, fear, attachment, or emotional backlog you hold, it bends that timeline. It slows the manifestation. It adds weight to the wave. Your signal becomes heavy, sluggish, unclear, and time stretches. Not because it needs to, because your frequency does. Resistance is friction in the field, and friction always slows energy. So collapsing time isn't about speeding up the universe. It's about removing the frictions you're still unconsciously broadcasting. Here are the most common forms of resistance. Overattachment to outcome. This has to happen. That signal says, I don't have it, which makes it stay away. Emotional compensation. Once I get this, I'll finally feel safe/worthy/loved. That signal says, I'm not those things now. The field responds to the lack, not the desire. Unintegrated fear of success. What if I lose it? What if people judge me? This adds static. Timelines stall. Trying too hard to manifest. The signal becomes strained. Effort says, I don't believe. Each one of these delays what would otherwise be immediate. Here's the shift. Stop trying to make time go faster. Start removing what's making it slow. And you'll find, time isn't the enemy. It's just mirroring your energy's clarity. So how do you collapse time? Step 1. Locate the friction. Ask, what feels heavy when I think of this desire? Where do I feel pressure, urgency, or strain? What belief or memory is tightening the signal? Don't look for mental blocks. Feel for energetic tension. That's resistance. Step 2. Release the grip. If you're gripping an outcome tightly, it means you don't trust the field. So loosen. Say, I allow this to arrive in perfect form and timing. I remove the weight. I restore flow. You'll feel it. Your breath opens. Your body softens. Your timeline contracts. Because flow equals speed. Step 3. Stop seeking proof. The need for evidence is the biggest resistance trap. Because every time you check for signs, you tell the field, I don't trust what I sent. Let it go. Let it unfold. The more you chase the outcome, the further it recedes. But when you become the outcome, you collapse time. Step 4. Anchor into the now. Resistance lives in the future, in what if and not yet, but power lives in now. When you return to now, breathe, feel, stabilize, you collapse the stretch between want and receive, because now is where signal sharpens. Now is where the field aligns. Now is where the wave forms. Time isn't your obstacle, it's your canvas, and every resistance you remove is a brushstroke of acceleration. You are not waiting, you are broadcasting, and the clearer that broadcast becomes, the shorter the timeline. Now that you've mastered the collapse of time through the removal of friction, you're ready to step into the deepest embodiment of future energy, the state of already having. Next, we'll guide you into the energetic home where nothing is missing, and the universe has no choice but to reflect that completion. You've stabilized your signal. You've removed resistance. You've stopped chasing time. Now we arrive at the most magnetic state in the quantum experience, the frequency where manifestation ends and embodiment begins. Already having. This is not a trick of the mind. This is a total body state, an energetic home where you stop becoming and begin being. Let's be clear. The universe does not respond to desire. It responds to frequency, and already having is the frequency of certainty. It's not hope. It's not wishful visualization. It's not acting as if. It's being. Now, it says to the field, there's nothing missing. There's nothing to chase. I've arrived. And the field, predictably, perfectly, echoes that reality back. Here's the paradox. The moment you vibrate as if you don't need it, you collapse the barrier that was keeping it away. Not because you detached, but because you transcended lack. And when lack is gone, delay disappears. Let's talk mechanics. Most people manifest from distance. I want it equals it's not here. I need it equals it's separate from me. I hope it comes equals I'm not aligned with it yet. These are all lack signals. And lack signals broadcast separation. The state of already having does the opposite. It says, I am this now. This is familiar. This is who I've always been. That's not ego. That's frequency realism. Because in the quantum field, there's no linear progression. Only match or mismatch. So how do you enter this state without faking it? How do you live as if it's here, without performing for the field? You shift identity, not temporarily, not like a role. As a baseline, you become the version of you who already lives the result. And then act, speak, breathe, walk, and expect from there. This is not pretending. It's memory activation. Because in the quantum, all versions of you already exist. You're just picking the one to stabilize. Here's a simple calibration. Ask yourself every morning, what does the version of me who already has it feel like? What does their day feel like? What is their tone, pace, breath, presence? Now match that. Subtly, consistently. This rewires your baseline. And your baseline is what broadcasts. Let's take it deeper. Start eliminating signals that contradict already having. For example, stop saying, I'm trying. Stop explaining how hard it's been. Stop preparing for it not to work out. Stop asking when. Those are all signals from the old self, the one who didn't have it. And every time you let them go, your timeline sharpens. Replace those habits with subtle embodiment cues. Speak from completion. Feel from satisfaction. Move from calm expectancy. No theatrics, just frequency integrity. Because the universe doesn't care what words you say. It's listening to your underlying assumption. And when your assumption is, this is mine, it becomes. Let's anchor this in your body. Close your eyes. Picture the version of you who already lives this reality. Feel there. breath, posture, pace, tone, inner dialogue. Now install that, not once, daily, until your body forgets the old self ever existed. This is how quantum change occurs, not through goals, not through doing more, but by becoming the embodiment of the thing before it appears. And when you do, it shows up not as a miracle, but as the only logical outcome, because the field matches what you've already normalized. Now that you've stepped into the state of already having, it's time to pay attention to what the field begins sending back. Not as a test, but as confirmation. Next, we explore how the universe starts reflecting your new frequency through synchronicity, and how you can use those subtle reflections to reinforce the signal. You've stepped into already having. You've stopped chasing. You've begun broadcasting from fulfillment. Now the field activates its response mechanism. Not through fireworks, but through synchronicity. Synchronicity is not luck. It's not coincidence. It's the field's way of saying, I got your signal, and it shows you that your broadcast has begun to loop. What is the signal loop? It's the return path of your transmission. When your frequency stabilizes, the field doesn't just reflect back the outcome. It reflects matching clues, breadcrumbs, symbols, moments, messages, people, numbers, repeats. It's not randomness. It's resonance. The universe echoes your signal to reinforce it. But here's the key. You have to know how to receive it without distorting it. Most people miss the feedback loop. They experience seeing repeating numbers, sudden messages or calls, running into people by accident, an idea dropping in multiple times, a dream that feels specific, hearing or seeing the same phrase multiple times, and they dismiss it, or worse, overanalyze it. But these are not signs to interpret. They are mirrors to confirm, and their job is not to give you answers. It's to recalibrate your confidence. When synchronicity shows up, your role is to receive, ground, reinforce. Don't ask, what does it mean? Ask, how does this reflect my frequency right now? And then do the most powerful thing of all. Stay in signal. Let's say you see 1111. You hear someone speak your exact affirmation. You get offered something unexpected. That's not magic. That's loop feedback. It says, you've tuned to something real. Now keep holding it. Synchronicity doesn't deliver the manifestation. It strengthens your broadcast of it. And if you anchor it with gratitude, not grasping, you amplify the loop. Here's how to anchor a loop. Pause when it happens. Acknowledge the reflection. Say silently, received, reinforced, thank you. Drop into already having. Continue from calm certainty. That's how you build feedback momentum. Now here's the mistake to avoid. Don't use synchronicity as evidence you're close. That turns it into a chasing signal again. Synchronicity isn't proof. It's resonance. And it's most powerful when you treat it as normal. Because the more normal it becomes, the stronger your assumption that the manifestation is inevitable. Remember, the field mirrors your baseline. So when synchronicity becomes your new baseline, alignment accelerates. This is the energetic infrastructure of manifestation, not action, but signal stabilization via feedback. Let's go deeper. Create a signal journal. Each time synchronicity shows up, note it, not as superstition, as signal data. Write what it was, what you were feeling when it occurred, what desire it relates to, what your state of being was that day. This isn't obsessive. It's signal intelligence. It trains your nervous system to expect feedback, and that expectation tightens your loop. Now observe the pattern. You'll begin to notice, the more you relax into already having, the more synchronicities intensify. They become rhythmic, predictable, personalized. This is not encouragement from the universe. This is the universe, responding, confirming, reinforcing, and your only job is to continue broadcasting, not harder, not louder, just clearer. Now that the feedback loop is active and synchronicity has become your compass, It's time to amplify this transmission through a powerful energetic window most people ignore: your dream state. Next, we'll uncover how your subconscious broadcasts while you sleep, and how to consciously install frequencies that the field will act on while your mind rests. You've trained your waking signal. You've stabilized your field. You're decoding synchronicity like a master navigator. But there's a window more powerful than your conscious effort, a space where your guard is down, your mind is offline, and your subconscious becomes the primary transmitter. Your sleep. Welcome to Dream Tech, the silent laboratory of your quantum self. Most people believe their dreams are just random brain static, loose images, stories that don't matter. But the truth is, your dream space is the purest access point to your subconscious field. And your subconscious is the true architect of your signal. Why? Because the subconscious holds the core assumptions you don't speak, the emotional memories you don't resolve, the beliefs you inherited, not created. These are the frequencies that run in the background, even when your conscious mind is thinking positive. And when your body sleeps, the subconscious broadcasts, loud, unfiltered, continuous. This means every night you are reinforcing a signal. The only question is, are you doing it by default or by design? Let's rewire that. Let's turn your sleep into a transmission chamber, a time-release field encoder that works while you rest. This is Dream Tech, and once you activate it, you'll stop wasting 1/3 of your life in unconscious looping, and start using that time to crystallize your manifestation. Here's the core principle. Your last dominant emotional state before sleep becomes your night's primary broadcast. It becomes the imprint your subconscious amplifies. If you go to sleep frustrated, anxious, distracted, that's what the field hears for the next 6 to 8 hours. But if you go to sleep aligned, expectant, emotionally rehearsed in having, that becomes your transmission. And because your conscious resistance is offline, that signal flows unblocked. So how do you install your desired broadcast into your sleep field? Here's the formula. 1. Pre-sleep signal lock. 2. Emotional encoding. 3. Night loop conditioning. Let's walk through it. 1. Pre-sleep signal lock. 30 minutes before bed, stop external inputs. No news, no emails, no mindless scrolling. This time is sacred. Treat it like you're preparing for signal surgery. Sit quietly. Write down the one identity shift you want to solidify. I am safe in abundance. I trust the field completely. Love flows to me as a default. Say it aloud slowly, not like an affirmation, like a memory. Let it feel familiar, not forced. This is your signal lock. 2. Emotional encoding. Now, with your signal locked, activate the emotion. Close your eyes. Visualize the version of you who already lives it. But don't focus on images. Focus on sensations. Feel the warmth. Feel the breath rhythm. Feel the stability of having. This emotional frequency is the code. And emotion is the language your subconscious understands. No emotion equals no encoding. So let yourself feel it until your body softens. Until it's not a visualization. It's a state. 3. Night loop conditioning. Now, while your body relaxes into sleep, whisper your chosen signal. Once, twice, slowly. Let your last thought be a frequency command. Not a question, not a request, just a clear transmission. As you fall asleep, the subconscious picks up that signal and loops it. Not logically, energetically, and the field receives it. For hours. This is quantum automation. This is passive alignment. This is dream tech in motion. Now add this bonus layer. Sound. Play a track with no lyrics. Ambient tones tuned to 432 Hz, 528 Hz, or theta frequencies. These tones create coherence. They amplify the emotional imprint. They keep your subconscious open while filtering external noise. Combined with your emotional encoding, it becomes a signal amplifier. And your dream space becomes a manifestation engine. Don't expect vivid dreams every night. This isn't about narrative. It's about frequency, but you will notice morning clarity, increased synchronicity, emotional steadiness, fewer energy dips during the day. Why? Because your broadcast never stopped. You trained it while you slept. Now that you've programmed your field to transmit even during rest, you're ready to explore one of the universe's favorite frequencies. Not seriousness, not perfection, but play. Next, we uncover how curiosity unlocks access to faster alignment, and why playful states generate some of the most magnetic field responses of all. You've stabilized your signal. You've encoded your dreams. Now it's time to enter a space that seems too light to be serious, and yet it holds more power than rigid effort ever could. Play. And its twin energy, curiosity. The field doesn't just respond to coherence. It responds to states that expand. And nothing expands your field faster than the energy of playful openness. Let's get something clear. Play is not childish. It's not frivolous. It's field dynamite, because play dissolves resistance. It unlocks creativity. It bypasses control. And it says to the universe, I'm not trapped in survival. I'm safe enough to explore. And when the field senses that freedom, it delivers frequency matches that feel like magic. Let's decode why. Play is one of the few emotional states where your nervous system is relaxed, engaged, receptive. In play, your body opens, your breath smooths, your brain waves soften. You enter flow, and flow is the transmission state of high magnetism. Now contrast this with forced manifestation, tension, metrics, urgency, fear of doing it wrong. Those are contraction states. Even if your techniques are perfect, the field mirrors your tension, not your effort. But in play, there's no effort to control, just expansion, movement, curiosity, and curiosity by nature opens channels. So how do you begin broadcasting from play without losing focus? You reassign your goal. Instead of, how do I get the thing? You shift to, how much wonder can I allow? How fun can it be to explore this frequency? This flips the signal. It removes the grip. And when the grip is gone, receiving speeds up. Here's an example. You want abundance. Instead of obsessing over amounts, you say, what would it feel like to play with the idea of overflow? How would I move if I were experimenting with wealth as a vibration? Then you play in it. You pretend not to fake it, but to explore the field like a sandbox. You shift from pressure to possibility. And in that shift, the universe responds, not as a reward, as a reflection of your expanded state. Now integrate micro-rituals of curiosity into your day. Try a new route to work. Rearrange your space. Move your body in unfamiliar ways. Ask your intuition absurd questions. Say, what else is possible here? Multiple times daily. These are not distractions. They are field modifiers. Because the more curious you are, the more open your receptors become. And the field flows fastest through open receivers. Next, use creative play to shift stagnation. If your signal feels stale, if your routine becomes rigid, dance, paint, sing, write something unfiltered. This is not therapy. It's signal reset, because play unhooks you from fixed outcomes. And the moment you stop clinging, results accelerate. Even your serious desires can be infused with playful frequency. Instead of saying, I need this to happen now, say, let's see how wildly this can show up. This simple phrase collapses tension. And tension, as you know, is the #1 delay. Finally, remember this. Play is a trust signal. When you play, you're saying, I trust the field enough not to control it. I don't need to force. I'm safe to explore. And that trust frequency is one of the most magnetic broadcasts in the universe. Now that you've brought curiosity and play back into your transmission, you're ready to drop one of the deepest signal distorters of all, effort. Next, we'll uncover how trying too hard doesn't accelerate results. It jams the field, and how effortlessness becomes a clearer transmission than willpower ever could. You've activated your signal. You've even learned how to play with it. But now a subtle trap emerges. A trap disguised as motivation, disguised as discipline, disguised as control. Trying. Trying is one of the most misleading energies in the manifestation process. It feels productive, feels virtuous, feels like you're doing everything you can. But the field doesn't respond to effort. It responds to clarity. And most trying is not clarity. It's a symptom of doubt. It's an emotional signal of, I don't trust this will work unless I force it. Let's pull the mask off. Trying is almost always rooted in misalignment. Because when you're aligned, you're not trying. You're transmitting. You're flowing. You're acting from signal, not stress. Trying only begins when you feel disconnected from the field. And the irony? The harder you try, the noisier your signal becomes. You introduce tension. You introduce need. You override your intuitive guidance. The result? Your frequency splits. You lose emotional coherence. And the universe gets scrambled instructions. Let's look at the mechanics. A person who is trying is often second-guessing themselves, comparing to others, overanalyzing outcomes, measuring their progress obsessively, pushing past their own internal no. None of that says, I believe. It says, I'm desperate for evidence. And the field doesn't respond to desperation. It responds to broadcast. You don't need to stop taking action, but your action must come from alignment, not compulsion. Aligned action feels like flow, ease, inspiration, precision, knowing. Trying feels like strain, control, panic, noise, repetition without results. And while both might look similar on the surface, only one of them is actually transmitting. So how do you move from trying into transmitting? Step 1. Pause when you feel urgency. Trying often comes with an edge, a voice that says, if I don't do this now, it won't happen. Catch that voice. Pause. Ask, am I doing this from signal or from scarcity? If scarcity is present, wait. Don't act from noise. Recalibrate. Step 2. Feel the impulse behind the action. Ask, what's the energy behind this? Is it inspired? Is it joyful? Or is it pressured? The quality of the action matters more than the quantity. And one clear signal-driven move will outperform 100 scattered efforts. Step 3. Stop keeping score. Trying comes with obsession over outcomes. You're always measuring, comparing, adjusting, compensating. Transmitting doesn't care about scoreboard. Trusts the field. So release the obsession with time, with quantity, with being enough. Alignment doesn't count. It clicks. Step 4. Let go of effort as proof of worth. Most people try hard because they believe effort is morally good. They were conditioned to associate value with struggle. But in the quantum, struggle has no spiritual currency. It's just static. The field doesn't reward effort. It mirrors resonance. So drop the I worked hard badge. Start asking, did I broadcast clearly today? That's the real metric. If your results are stalled, it might not be because you're doing too little. It might be because you're trying too much. And in that trying, you've started transmitting uncertainty. You can't force the field. You can only become clear enough for it to mirror you accurately. Trying is heavy. Transmission is light. Trying is fear. Transmission is flow. Trying is noise. Transmission is tone. And the universe always answers tone. Now that you've unhooked your self-worth from effort and stepped into the lighter, cleaner, more magnetic state of transmitting, you're ready to enter the ultimate amplifier of all signals, relaxation. Next, we will explore why reality doesn't respond to your urgency, but to your ability to lean back and receive without gripping. You've stopped trying. You've begun transmitting. You've cleared your signal of static and force. Now we unlock the final frequency that collapses resistance, amplifies attraction, and makes alignment effortless. Relaxation, not as laziness, not as a luxury, as a magnetic posture. Because in the quantum field, Relaxed energy is high-frequency energy, and it communicates, I already trust this. I'm not in lack. I'm safe to receive. And when the universe hears that, it delivers. Let's be precise. Relaxation is not doing nothing. It's doing from a non-gripping state. You still create. You still take action. But your nervous system isn't bracing. Your breath is open. Your emotions are regulated. That is transmission without resistance. Let's break it down biologically. When you're tense, your body enters sympathetic dominance, fight/flight. Your perception narrows. Your breath shortens. Your subconscious interprets the world as unsafe. And in that state, your field becomes defensive. You may want to manifest love, money, freedom, but your field says, I'm in survival mode. And the field cannot deliver expansion into a contracted vessel. Relaxation, however, is a receiving posture. It activates parasympathetic response, rest/digest. It opens your perception, it stabilizes emotion, and it broadcasts trust. You don't even have to do trust. You feel it in your nervous system, and that feeling becomes your signal. So how do you move into relaxed magnetism? Step 1. Soften your timeline obsession. The fastest way to contract is to count the days. I sent the signal. Why isn't it here yet? I've done everything. What's the delay? That voice is contraction. That voice collapses waves before they form. Instead say, it's already in motion. I allow perfect timing. I relax into the outcome that's already real. Your breath will change. Your body will open. Your signal will clean up. Step 2. Scan for tension in your energy. Ask, where am I holding unnecessary urgency? Where am I using action to compensate for fear? Where am I bracing for disappointment? Every brace is a block. Every clench is a delay. Now soften it. Breathe. Feel safety in your system without needing results. This is not weakness. This is power without tension. Step 3. Micro-relax all day long. Create small relaxation checkpoints. Loosen your jaw. Drop your shoulders. Stretch for 90 seconds. Exhale longer than you inhale. Take a trust breath before making decisions. These micro-relaxes rewire your body to believe, I am safe to let this come to me. And that belief shapes the field response. Step 4. Rewrite your relationship with rest. Rest is not an interruption to productivity. Rest is a field amplifier. Because when you rest, your resistance drops, your signal settles, your coherence increases, and often you'll find synchronicity showing up right after rest. Not because you stopped effort, but because you stopped jamming the signal. Let's go deeper. True relaxation means letting go of identity tension, the pressure to prove, the fear of being lazy, the guilt for not doing enough. All of these are false signal overlays. All of them confuse your broadcast. Relaxation is not irresponsible. It's receptive. And the more you receive, the less you need to force. So next time you're tempted to push harder, pause, feel, ask, would the version of me who already has this be anxious right now? Or would they be smiling, grounded, trusting? Match that, not in fantasy, in frequency, and the field will match you back. You don't need to grip to create. You don't need to control to attract. You don't need to push to prove you're worthy. Relaxation is not the absence of power. It's the embodiment of it. Now that you've unlocked the frequency of deep magnetic relaxation, you're ready to challenge one of the most common misconceptions in manifestation, the idea that letting go means giving up. Next, we'll expose the false narrative around just let it go, and show you the real quantum mechanism of release without collapse. You've learned to relax. You've stopped gripping. You've softened your signal into magnetic steadiness. But now comes one of the most distorted teachings in spiritual and quantum spaces, the concept of letting go. You've heard it 1,000 times. Just let it go. Detach from the outcome. Release the need. And yet, most people interpret that as emotional abandonment. They treat it like surrendering means giving up. But the real quantum release isn't about indifference. It's not about pushing desire away. It's about releasing the resistance wrapped around the desire. And that's a very different frequency. Let's make something clear. You are not required to stop wanting. Desire is not the problem. The problem is when desire becomes tension, when it turns into need, obsession, pressure, timeline control, self-worth measurement. That's not desire. That's distortion. And when people say, let it go, what they really mean is, let go of the distortion. Keep the signal. Drop the grip. Let's talk physics. Every wave you send carries intent, emotion, attachment. The universe receives that bundle. If it's clean, coherent, it responds directly. But if your desire is fused with grasping energy, the field receives a fractured broadcast. So letting go isn't about tossing the desire. It's about purifying the signal. And that purification is released through trust, not denial. So what does real quantum release feel like? It feels like relief, not grief. It feels like, I've done my part. It feels like moving from outcome obsession to frequency faith. It feels like the breath that follows a deep exhale. It's a return to wholeness, not a retreat from intention. Here's how you practice real release. Step 1. Acknowledge the core desire clearly. Own it. I desire this outcome because it represents alignment with my highest self. No shame, no guilt, no suppression. Your desire is sacred data. Step 2. Identify the emotional grip. Ask, what tension have I wrapped around this? Where have I made this mean too much? What fear would arise if this didn't happen? Now feel that tension, not to hold it, but to soften it. That's the beginning of release. Step 3. Shift your identity posture. Move from, I hope this happens, to, this is already in motion because I am already the match. And then let that be enough. The field responds not when you stop caring, but when you stop resisting not having. That's the real key. Step 4. Activate peace with both outcomes. This isn't a trick. It's a frequency release. Say, if it happens, I celebrate. If it doesn't, I am still the version of me who receives aligned things. This tells the field, I'm not operating from scarcity, and that signal creates space for the desire to land, without friction. Real quantum release is full of feeling, but empty of fear. You don't drop the want. You drop the weight. You don't suppress. You stabilize. You don't numb. You neutralize. Letting go isn't giving up. It's stepping into a stronger signal. It says, I don't need to demand this because I am already whole. I'm not chasing. I'm vibrating. I'm not attached. I'm available. This availability is everything. The universe delivers where space has been made. And letting go, true letting go, is how that space gets cleared. Now that you've reclaimed the power of aligned release, you're ready to amplify the field pull by infusing your signal with potent, clean emotional charge. Next, we'll explore how emotional energy becomes magnetic force, not through drama, but through focused charge that activates attraction. You've released the grip. You've allowed space. Now it's time to add something powerful back in. Charge. Not the chaotic, overwhelming roller coaster kind, but focused, coherent, intentional emotional charge. Because emotion is the voltage behind your signal. Your thoughts may direct the frequency, but your emotions give it power. And when that power is clean, the universe responds faster, louder, clearer. Let's break down what this really means. Every desire you send to the field is like an electronic pulse. It carries information, intention, frequency, but the amplitude, the strength, the reach, the magnetism, that's determined by emotional energy. And there are two types: coherent charge, focused, calm, full-bodied feeling; distorted charge, anxious, forced, desperate, unregulated. Only one of those makes your field magnetic. Here's what coherent emotional charge looks like. Feeling abundance before you see it. Generating gratitude as a baseline. Practicing joy not for outcome, but for signal consistency. Allowing desire to flow without gripping. This is embodied signal voltage. And it creates magnetic fields so strong. They pull matching realities in faster than any technique ever could. Let's walk through emotional charging. Step 1. Identify the emotional signature of your desired outcome. Ask, if this were already mine, what would I feel every day? Choose one primary emotion. Peace, empowerment, radiance, freedom. This is your emotional code. Step 2. Rehearse the feeling without external justification. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, generate that emotion from within. Feel it as if it were normal. Feel it until your body believes it. This is how you override default programming. Not by thinking different thoughts, but by feeling ahead of reality. Step 3. Amplify subtly, avoid drama. Don't confuse emotional charge with emotional chaos. Crying, screaming, overhyping. These are signs of energetic instability. Your signal doesn't need fireworks. It needs focus. So smile softly into your frequency. Hold it gently. Radiate it like warmth. That quiet coherence is 10 times more magnetic than theatrical desperation. Step 4. Charge throughout the day in microbursts. Your body forgets. The world distracts. So keep topping up the charge. Morning breath work with your chosen emotion. Midday feel checks where you pause and align. Evening gratitude as an amplifier. These are not rituals. They are field recalibrations. Every time you charge intentionally, you give your desire a stronger pull. Now let's talk about the emotional scale. Not all high energy is helpful, and not all low energy is blocking. For example, peace is a low arousal state but highly magnetic. Anxiety is high arousal but repels alignment. So choose feelings that feel stable, not just intense. Aim for calm confidence, gentle joy, deep safety, warm anticipation. These create stable magnetic fields. And stability attracts faster than intensity. Let's bust a myth. You don't need to feel high vibe all the time. That's spiritual perfectionism. But your dominant field tone does matter. It's your emotional average that writes your future, not the spikes. So if you dip, fine. Just don't stay dipped. Return to charge. Reset the tone. The field always listens to your dominant broadcast. Here's a practical tool. Emotional anchors. Pick one physical item that symbolizes your charged state. A ring, crystal, a necklace, even your breath. Every time you feel the emotion clearly, touch that object. This creates a neurological anchor. Now, whenever you touch it, the body recalls the emotion. That's emotional automation, and it makes charging faster and easier over time. Let's close with a reminder. Your emotions are not liabilities. They are field instructions. And the more clearly, calmly, and confidently you feel, the more powerfully you attract. Not by force, not by hype, but through emotional magnetism. The quantum field doesn't need drama. It needs clarity. An emotion is the clearest frequency carrier you have. Now that your emotional charge is activated, we move to the next signal upgrade. A frequency so often misunderstood and underutilized, trust. But not as a mindset, as a vibrational tone that programs everything you send. You've amplified emotional charge. You've learned to feel the outcome before it arrives. But now we step into a frequency that doesn't just accelerate results. It stabilizes them. It anchors them. It makes the signal undeniable. That frequency is trust. But not the kind of trust that lives in your head. Not a thought. Not a mantra. Trust as a tone. Trust as an embodied, lived vibration. Because the field doesn't respond to what you say you believe. It responds to what your body knows is already true. Let's be honest. Most people say, I trust, but their frequency says, I'm terrified it won't happen. They think trust is repeating affirmations. They think it's forcing optimism. They think it's pretending to feel good while still gripping the outcome. That's not trust. That's fragile hope dressed in spiritual language. Real trust is quiet. It's stable. It doesn't need convincing. And here's how you know you're in it. You're not chasing signs. You're not constantly checking if it's working. You're not afraid of the timeline. You're grounded in a knowing. It's mine already. I've become it. That's what the field responds to. That's what collapses the wave. So how do you move trust from a thought into a frequency? Let's get specific. Step 1. Locate where trust already lives in your body. You've trusted before. Someone. Something. Your own hands. Gravity. A door that opens when you turn the handle. That feeling, where you didn't have to double-check, didn't have to tense up, didn't have to hope, that's trust. Now feel it again. Not in the mind, in the nervous system. That ease, that peace, that I know this works sensation. Anchor that. Step 2. Bring that sensation to your current desire. Say the desire. Now tune your body. Let it feel as natural as turning on a faucet and expecting water. Because that's what trust feels like. Assumed certainty. You're not faking it. You're recalling it. You're transferring it. And now, the field receives that vibration. Step 3. Stop asking if it's working. This is a hard one, because doubt likes to disguise itself as being realistic. But every time you ask, is it working? What if it's not? Should I do more? You're interrupting the signal. You're saying, I don't believe yet. Let go of monitoring. Replace it with daily return to tone. You don't track trust. You transmit it. Step 4. Practice lean back energy. Trust doesn't lunge. It doesn't hunt. It doesn't obsess. It leans back. It lets the field rearrange in the background. Your work is to hold the tone, not manage the mechanics. Say to yourself, I don't need to know how. I only need to know this. I already align with the version of me who has it. That's enough. That's the code. Now let's get real. You will feel doubt. You will have emotional weather. You will sometimes fall into old patterns. That's human. But what matters is, can you return to the trust tone without panic? Can you say, that was a wobble, not a collapse? That was noise, not a change in trajectory? Because that's what trust really is. Not perfection, but resilience of signal. When trust becomes your dominant frequency, you stop trying to force synchronicity. It finds you. You stop trying to chase outcomes. They orbit you. You stop scanning the world for evidence. You become the evidence. And when trust anchors your signal, life becomes feedback, which brings us to the next transmission upgrade. Not guessing what the universe is doing, but reading what your current life is already trying to say. You've built trust. You've become the vibration. You've let the outcome breathe. But now comes the part most people miss entirely, interpreting the signal loops already in motion. Because the universe isn't quiet. It's constantly responding, reflecting, communicating. But most people are too busy waiting for fireworks to notice the subtle instructions embedded in their everyday life. We call this field feedback. It's how reality mirrors your signal. Not later, now. And if you know how to read it, you can adjust your vibration in real time, with shocking accuracy. Let's clarify something. Life isn't testing you. It's informing you. It's not punishing. It's reflecting. It's not withholding. It's instructing. But if you misread the message, you'll miss the shift. Here's how field feedback works. Every experience you're having is a data point. It's showing you the shape, tone, and consistency of your current transmission. And there are 3 primary types of feedback: synchronicity acceleration, energetic pushback, emotional misfires. Let's walk through each one. 1. Synchronicity acceleration. You think of someone and they text. You declare a desire and signs appear. You feel alignment and a random opportunity shows up. This is the field saying, your signal is locked. Stay here. Your job isn't to chase these signs. It's to note the state you were in when they occurred, and then return to that state again and again. It's not about superstition. It's about signal tracking. 2. Energetic pushback. You try to launch something and every tech issue shows up. You feel ready for love, but every date feels off. You push a desire but feel drained afterward. This doesn't mean you're cursed. It means the universe is showing you, you're not fully congruent yet. This is not punishment. It's a mirror. Ask, what belief still contradicts this? What fear am I still holding quietly? Where am I moving from pressure, not presence? The field will keep showing you that feedback until the signal stabilizes. 3. Emotional misfires. You think you're aligned, but irritation, boredom, or restlessness spike. This is the nervous system telling you, you're trying to feel it mentally, but your body doesn't believe you yet. This isn't failure. It's calibration data. Feel it, name it, realign. You don't have to get back on track. You only need to hear the message and adjust the tone. Now let's look at how to apply field feedback as a daily tool. Step 1. Begin your day with a single question. What is life showing me about my frequency today? This shifts you from passive recipient to active signal interpreter. You're no longer waiting. You're reading. And this makes you a master of alignment. Step 2. Treat contrast as calibration. When something triggers you, don't spiral. Don't shame. Just ask, what does this reveal about my current broadcast? Then soften the contradiction. Charge the aligned tone. And continue. Step 3. Notice repetition. Patterns that loop are signals that haven't been adjusted. If the same conflict keeps appearing, there's a part of your field still anchoring that experience. Don't moralize it. Just trace it and update the emotion behind it. Step 4. Zoom out. Sometimes feedback is subtle, one-off. Other times it's a series of echoes. Zoom out from your day-to-day. Look at the last 2 weeks. What moods dominated? What themes repeated? What decisions felt sticky or light? This is your frequency map. It shows where your signal is clean and where it's still distorted. Now here's the upgrade. Once you become fluent in field feedback, you stop waiting for answers. You start listening to what's already being said. The result? Faster pivots, sharper intuition, clearer signal. You don't need signs. You become the interpreter. Now that you've trained your trust as a frequency and learned to read the feedback of your own field in motion, you're ready to explore the one moment that frightens most manifestors. The void. When nothing is happening. Is it silence? Or is it sacred? You've clarified your signal. You've matched your emotional charge. You've even begun reading field feedback like a codebreaker. But what about when it all stops? No movement. No response. No signs. No ripple. Nothing. You're not confused. You're not doing something wrong. And yet, the universe is silent. Welcome to the void. But here's the real question. Is this silence a cosmic standstill? Or are you simply tuned to the wrong stream? Let's start with this truth. The void is not punishment. It's not the universe withholding your outcome. It's not failure in disguise. It's a recalibration chamber. But if you don't know that, you'll panic. You'll push. You'll abandon the process just before alignment completes. So what is the void, really? It's the pause between vibrational transmission and physical manifestation. It's the moment your old frequency has stopped producing results, but your new one hasn't yet rooted in the physical timeline. In this space, nothing appears to move, but underneath, the field is adjusting, reweaving, redirecting. It's the cosmic breath before the next exhale of manifestation. Now let's be clear. There are 2 reasons the universe goes quiet. Reason 1, you're in the void. Reason 2, you're in the wrong stream. And your job is to discern which one. Let's decode the difference. The void feels like peaceful pause, soft uncertainty, a sense of floating, quiet intuition, zero urgency to fix things. an invitation to surrender deeper. You don't feel broken. You feel still, but safe. This is not stagnation. This is gestation. The new timeline is forming. You've already matched it vibrationally, and now it's simply not yet visible. This is a test of trust, but not the universe testing you. It's your own field stabilizing your upgraded signal. The wrong stream feels different. Irritation, resistance, burnout, repetitive failures, nervous urgency, emotional collapse. You feel off. You feel pushed, not guided. You feel like you're running in circles. This is not silence for expansion. It's feedback that something's misaligned. Either your desire has shifted, or your current frequency no longer supports what you think you want. So how do you tell which you're in? Simple. Scan your body's tone. Ask, am I at peace with this pause? Do I feel secretly terrified that nothing is happening? Is there a subtle knowing? Or is there a silent scream? Your body always knows. If you're in the void, your body is calm, even if your mind isn't sure what's next. If you're in the wrong stream, your body is tight, jittery, or numb. That's the difference. So let's say you're in the void. What should you do? Nothing. But this isn't passive nothing. It's potent nothing. Intentional rest. Tuned stillness. Relaxed waiting without searching. Let yourself breathe. Let the field rearrange. Let the new vibration integrate fully. Sometimes, the pause is the work. But if you realize you're in the wrong stream, that's different. Then your work becomes realignment. Ask, what signal am I sending that contradicts what I claim to want? Has this desire expired but I've kept it alive out of habit? Where is fear still distorting my frequency? Make a shift, even a small one, a new tone, a new decision, a new choice to stop settling. And then, pause again. Let the recalibration begin. Because either way, stillness is the next right move. Not panic, not grasping, stillness. Let the energy land before you act again. The void is not absence. It's incubation. It's not the end of a timeline. It's the bridge between streams. And if you can sit in it, if you can hold the silence without collapsing, you'll walk out of it magnetically locked into the next reality. Now that you've learned how to navigate stillness and read the difference between true pause and misaligned flow, we now enter a deeper dimension of your signal, your physical body. Next, we'll explore how your hydration, water structure, and biological frequency literally shape the message your energy field is transmitting. You've tuned your signal. You've released the noise. You've stabilized in trust, even in stillness. But what if the very vessel sending the signal, your body, was clouding your message? What if your energy field is coherent, but your physical body is full of distortions, leaks, and sluggishness? Let's make one thing clear. You can't transmit a crystal-clear quantum message through a dehydrated, energetically polluted system. The quantum field doesn't just read your emotions. It reads your biology. This is where most teachings stop. They separate spiritual signal from physical reality. But in truth, your body is the transmitter, and its ability to send a coherent signal depends heavily on one foundational element: water. You are not a solid. You are a liquid crystal, a walking waveform, a bioelectrical system made of memory-holding water molecules. And water, structured, charged, living water, is the medium through which your field communicates with the quantum universe. So if your water is stagnant, so is your signal. Let's talk mechanics. Structured water inside your cells holds electrical charge. That charge becomes biological energy. That energy fuels your emotional broadcast. So if your body is dehydrated, your brain fogs, your nervous system dysregulates, your emotions become unstable, your frequency becomes unclear. It's not just health, it's field hygiene. Here's what hydration means in the quantum sense. Not just how much water you drink, but what kind of water your cells are absorbing. You want high structure, high coherence, high mineral content, alive water. because your internal signal is carried through these channels. Water is the messenger between your soul and the quantum field. Now let's decode how to upgrade your body's frequency for better signal clarity. Step 1. Raise your hydration standards. You don't need more liquid. You need more absorbable structure. This means spring water, tap water. Glass bottles, plastic. Add minerals or electrolytes. Vortex or swirl your water for charge. Consume hydrating foods. Cucumber, watermelon, leafy greens. You're not just nourishing your body, you're sharpening your broadcast antenna. Step 2. Reconnect your water with intention. Water is programmable. It takes on the frequency of its container, which means your thoughts and emotions imprint it. Speak into your water. Hold it with presence. Infuse it with feeling. Even 10 seconds before you drink can shift its vibration, which then shifts yours. Step 3. Move your internal water. Stagnant water becomes toxic. Same with energy. So stretch, dance, jump, shake, breathe deeply. Movement keeps your biofield flexible and charged. This increases signal coherence, which means the field hears you louder. Step 4. Detox interference. Toxins in your system reduce conductivity, and lower conductivity means signal distortion. So clear the clutter, sugar overload, processed foods, EMF exposure, overmedication, energetic cords, and unresolved trauma. Your signal becomes sharp when your system becomes clean. You don't have to be perfect, but the more hydrated, oxygenated, mineralized, and energized your physical body is, the easier it is for your emotional and mental intentions to be heard. This is embodiment at the quantum level. You are not a thought floating through space. You are an energy system in a biological transmitter, and that transmitter must be tuned. Now that you've connected hydration and biology to the integrity of your quantum signal, you're ready to discover the final layer of protection: how to clean up energetic leaks caused by people, environments, and invisible vampire frequencies that quietly weaken your field. You've purified your emotional state. You've activated coherent frequency through hydration, movement, and intention. But even with a powerful inner signal, you might still feel like something's leaking. Like you charge up in the morning, but by noon it's gone. You feel open but heavy, clear but suddenly foggy, empowered but weirdly exhausted. This is the moment to face something most ignore: energetic hygiene. Your field may be sending the right message, but if it's full of holes, if it's tangled with other people's energy, if it's absorbing unconscious frequencies like a sponge, then your power is being siphoned, silently. This is not paranoia, it's physics. You are not a closed container. You are a living, vibrating field, and that field is constantly interacting with the people, spaces, and stimuli around you. If you don't actively manage that interaction, you become vulnerable to distortion. Let's name it clearly. These are energetic vampires and signal leaks, and both are completely real and totally correctable. Let's start with signal leaks. A signal leak is any place your attention, emotion, or vibration is unconsciously flowing out. These often include unfinished conversations looping in your head, worrying about how others perceive you, obsessively checking messages, metrics, or reactions, performing or people-pleasing, energetic cords from past relationships, mentally rehearsing failure or rejection, constantly tuning into other people's emotions before your own. Each of these is a drain, not because they're inherently bad, but because they're uncontained. You're leaking frequency. Now, energetic vampires. These are people, patterns, and environments that don't match your coherence, but feed off it. They may be friends who leave you drained, coworkers who guilt you into overgiving, environments full of conflict, criticism, or emotional instability, old versions of you that you keep acting from out of loyalty. These energies don't always mean harm, but they disrupt clarity. They confuse the field, and they lower your default tone without you even realizing it. So how do you clean this up? Let's build your field hygiene protocol. Step 1. Audit your energetic calendar. Pull out your schedule. Review the past 7 days. Ask yourself, what interactions left me energized? What interactions left me fuzzy, anxious, or resentful? What conversations have I replayed in my head more than once? Where did I say yes when I meant no? This is your leak map. It shows where your signal was scattered. Step 2. Cut cords intentionally. Energetic cords are emotional or mental attachments to people or situations that no longer belong in your present signal. To clear them, you don't need rituals. You need clarity. Sit still. Call the person or pattern to mind. Say, I release you from my field. I retrieve all of my energy. I seal this loop with neutrality and peace. Then visualize your field, full, whole, bright. Feel the return. Feel the relief. And let it be done. Step 3. Protect your broadcast. Not through force, but through containment. You don't need to block the world out. You need to hold your field intact as you move through it. Ways to do that: start the day with a clear emotional tone and hold it like an anchor. Pause before social interactions and ask, do I want to match this energy? Set the intention. I observe without absorbing. Don't explain your energy to those who aren't committed to understanding it. This is not ego. This is signal integrity. Step 4. Detox your physical and digital space. Field hygiene isn't just internal. Your surroundings are transmitters, too. Ask yourself, does my environment reflect clarity or chaos? Is my phone full of unconscious entry points for anxiety or comparison? Am I giving my attention to people and content that match my next timeline? Every scroll, every object, every word either amplifies or distorts your frequency. Be ruthless. Be sovereign. Be precise. You are worth that level of care. Let's be clear. You don't need to be a recluse. You need to be resonant. You can still be open-hearted, while being selective about what gets access to your emotional signal. Because your field is sacred. It's the interface through which the quantum responds, and it deserves to be clean, clear, and whole. Now that you've sealed the leaks and released the vampires, it's time to connect that stable field to a deeper power source, the natural field of the Earth itself. Next, we'll explore the incredible benefits of attuning your frequency to the Earth grid, the oldest, clearest, and most responsive energetic system you're already standing on. Your signal is now clean. Your frequency is intact. You're broadcasting from clarity instead of confusion. But what if you could amplify that signal? Not by doing more, but by plugging into something older, stronger, and far more coherent than anything you've ever used? You can. And it's called the Earth Grid. Beneath your feet is not just dirt. It's a planetary frequency system. The Earth has her own magnetic field, a grid of energetic lines, vortexes, and frequencies that influence your biology, your emotions, and your ability to manifest. She's not passive. She's a living signal. And when you plug into her, you stabilize, amplify, and expand your broadcast. Let's talk about the Schumann resonance. It's the Earth's natural heartbeat, a frequency of 7.83 Hz that your brain and heart literally sync with. When you're in alignment, when you tune to it, anxiety calms, nervous system settles, signal clarity increases, manifestation accelerates. It's like plugging into a quantum charging station. So how do you actually connect to the Earth grid? Let's get practical. Step 1. Ground physically. Yes, literally. Take off your shoes. Touch the Earth. Let your skin interface with her electrical field. Even 10 to 15 minutes of this resets your body's electrical charge and recalibrates your emotional signal. This is not just nature. This is energetic coherence. Step 2. Tune mentally. When you walk or sit outside, don't just scroll or escape. Instead, say, I am now syncing with the Earth's resonance. I match the planet's coherence. I stabilize my field with her wisdom. Let that become a tone, not a thought. And let that tone carry you into presence. Step 3. Use Earth grid points intentionally. Around the world, there are energetic nodes called vortexes or ley lines. Places like Sedona, Mount Shasta, the Himalayas, Glastonbury. These are frequency amplifiers, but you don't need to travel to use them. Simply tuning into them mentally, visualizing their energy, inviting connection, can elevate your signal. Try this. Close your eyes. Visualize a golden grid wrapping the Earth. Feel where you're standing on it. Then say, I activate my frequency through the grid. I plug into the Earth's stability. I broadcast in alignment with her harmony. Let the body respond. Let the signal stabilize. Step 4. Honor your body as Earth. You are not separate. You're made of Earth materials. Your water, minerals, cells are all borrowed from her. So treat your body with the same reverence you treat sacred land. Because when your microfield and her macrofield align, that's coherence at scale. That's vibrational harmony no technique can replicate. Tuning into the Earth grid isn't just grounding. It's activation. It's you saying, I belong to a living, conscious planet. I borrow her signal to strengthen my own. And together we transmit truth. Now that your signal is clean, sealed, and plugged into the deepest source of planetary coherence, you're ready to experience the instant alignment marker. That click inside you that tells you, without doubt, the universe is listening. You've cleaned your field. You've tuned your vibration. You've plugged into Earth's natural grid. But now it's time to give you something incredibly practical, personal signal. Something that doesn't depend on signs, gurus, or guesswork. Something you can use anytime, any place. To know whether you are in alignment. This isn't theoretical. It's not symbolic. It's a physical, energetic, unmistakable click. It's called the quantum yes. Let's be honest. Most people struggle with knowing. They say, I think this is right, but how do I know? Is this intuition or fear? Is this aligned or just familiar? The quantum yes solves that. It's a felt response from your energy field. When your signal, desire, and timeline all match. It doesn't whisper. It doesn't stutter. It doesn't ask permission. It just clicks. This is not a logical moment. It's somatic, energetic. In your chest, in your gut, sometimes even in your skin. You feel openness, expansion, flow, peace. A warm wave of rightness, even if your mind doubts it, even if it's inconvenient, even if you don't know how. The quantum yes lands before it makes sense. So how do you recognize it? Let's walk through the signature traits of a quantum yes. 1. Time stops. There's a pause, not confusion, but stillness. A deep breath of resonance. A suspension of doubt. 2. Your body relaxes. Shoulders drop, jaw unclenches, your stomach softens. It's not adrenaline, it's release. 3. Emotion harmonizes. You may feel calm, excited, or even teary, but never panicked. There's zero friction, zero urgency, just yes. 4. Mental chatter pauses. Even if only for a second, you stop negotiating, you stop spinning. There's nothing to prove. It just fits. Now here's what it's not. A should, a pressure from others, a decision made from fear of missing out, a frequency that only feels safe because it's familiar. Those are false yes. They mimic truth with urgency and tension, but they don't hold up under stillness. The quantum yes gets stronger the longer you sit with it. It builds power over time because it's connected to truth. Let's now train your body to recognize it. Step 1. Recall your past yes. Go back in time, not to moments where things just worked out, but to moments where you knew it was right before you had evidence. Even if it scared you, even if it made no sense. What did your body do? What did your breath do? What emotion showed up without being summoned? That's your template. Step 2. Test it in neutral decisions. Don't wait for a huge life shift. Use it on what to eat, where to go, who to message, what task to start. Ask, what does a yes feel like? Then notice, does my chest open or contract? Does my breath deepen or catch? Your field always knows. And the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Step 3. Differentiate the yes from the not now. Not everything outside a yes is a no. Sometimes it's just not yet. Sometimes it's you're not the one to move this. Sometimes it's something better aligns more. The quantum yes will always feel clean. Even if the outcome is uncertain, there's internal certainty. That's your compass. Step 4. Act from the yes without over-explanation. You don't need to explain why you feel drawn to something. You don't need to defend your resonance. The quantum yes is its own validation. Your job is not to convince anyone. It's to listen, respond, and allow reality to reflect what your field already knows. The more you respond to this internal click, the faster the field rearranges around it. You don't manifest from strategy. You manifest from signal integrity. And the quantum yes is the heartbeat of that signal. Now that you've learned how to feel when alignment is present, you're ready to anchor it into something tangible. A daily loop that reinforces your signal and makes coherence your default mode. You've discovered the quantum yes, that felt knowing when your signal clicks into alignment. But now the mission is consistency. You don't want flashes of coherence. You want to live inside alignment as your base frequency. This is where we introduce the tool that keeps you tuned, the alignment loop. This is not a routine. It's not a performance. It's a field pattern, a series of simple, repeatable practices that keep your body, emotions, and focus broadcasting clearly. Not once a week, every single day. The alignment loop is not about forcing positivity. It's not about being high vibe all day. It's about becoming aware of the feedback loop between what you feel, what you choose, what you emit, what returns, and learning to reset that loop, consciously, gently, and often. Let's build your loop. Step 1. Morning signal set. Your field is most impressionable right when you wake. Your subconscious is still soft. Your energy is programmable. Before you touch your phone, before you scroll, check, or think, ask yourself one thing. What do I want to broadcast today? Let your answer be a tone, not a to-do list. Maybe calm, confidence, openness, joy, power. Hold that word like a tuning fork in your chest. Say it aloud. Whisper it. Feel it. Then move as if it's already yours. Step 2. Midday recalibration. Most people drift. They start the day clear, but by noon they're reacting, scattered, compressed. So at some point, set an anchor moment. Stop. Close your eyes. Put one hand on your heart. Ask, am I still broadcasting what I woke up intending to? If yes, reinforce it. If no, don't judge. Just return. Even 60 seconds resets the loop. Step 3. The pre-action check. Before you hit send. Before you take the call. Before you say yes. Pause. Tune in. Ask, is this action coherent with the timeline I say I want? If your body tightens, reconsider. If your chest opens, proceed. This is not hesitation. This is mastery. You're no longer reacting. You're choosing, as the field itself. Step 4. The reflection loop. End your day with alignment memory. Not to judge, but to learn your own patterns. Ask, where was I most in flow today? What interaction or moment drained my frequency? When did I feel that quantum yes? Celebrate the signal wins. They're not minor, they're calibration markers. This is how you lock in identity. Not from achievement, but from pattern recognition. Now, you can add physical reinforcement tools. Breathe deeply for 2 minutes to release excess static. Drink structured water to stabilize your cells. Step outside barefoot for 1 full breath cycle. Play music that matches your signal intention. These are not chores. They're reinforcements. They make your loop more embodied. But the real power of the alignment loop isn't what you do. It's how often you return. Because alignment isn't about perfection. It's about speed of return. The faster you notice dissonance, the faster you shift. and the faster your field resumes coherent transmission. This loop doesn't make life easier. It makes your signal undeniable. And once you're broadcasting without contradiction, the quantum responds with precision. Now that you have a sustainable, practical practice to reinforce alignment, you're ready to stop operating from action and fully enter a life driven by frequency-based living. This is where attraction replaces strategy, and your energetic architecture becomes your true compass. You've stabilized your alignment loop. You've learned how to feel the quantum yes in real time. You're no longer guessing, you're sensing. But there's a deeper shift waiting to be made. A change that will permanently upgrade how you create, move, and attract. It's time to stop making action your engine and let frequency drive your life. Welcome to the domain of quantum habits. This isn't productivity. It's not about discipline. Quantum habits aren't built to get results. They're designed to become the result. Let's reframe something right now. Most people act from scarcity. They act because they don't feel they already are. They do things to try and deserve the outcome. They effort in order to become. Quantum habits reverse the flow. You become first. Then the actions follow naturally if they're even needed. This shift removes striving. It ends grinding. It collapses timelines because you're not pushing energy upstream. You're simply broadcasting the end state now. So what does a quantum habit look like? It's not meditate every morning or write 10 affirmations. That's routine. Quantum habits are state generators. They exist for one purpose: to shift and hold your frequency identity. Here's how to create them. Step 1. Identify your signal self. This is not your ideal self. It's your signal-matched identity. Ask, if I already had the reality I'm asking for, who would I be? Not what would you do, but how would you move, breathe, choose, and feel? Would you slow down? Laugh more? Walk differently? Stop negotiating your worth in every decision. This is the template. Your quantum habits must match this you. Step 2. Replace behavior-driven habits with frequency triggers. Old habit model. Wake up at 5 a.m. to become productive. Quantum model. I wake in stillness and sync with calm because calm is my signature. Old habit model. Post daily to grow my brand. Quantum model. I express only when my field is aligned with value, joy, or service. Can you feel the difference? In the quantum model, identity is upstream. Action flows from the tone, not the goal. Step 3. Design microhabits that shift state instantly. Examples: a 10-second exhale before speaking. Placing your hand on your heart when you feel urgency. Asking, am I broadcasting the result or the lack? Drinking water while thinking. This is recalibration. Tiny things done with full presence can recode your entire field. It's not about doing more. It's about doing less from the right state. Step 4. Remove contradiction loops. This is key. Contradiction loops happen when your actions reflect scarcity, even though your intention is abundance. Example: you say you trust, but check your bank app 5 times a day. You say you're magnetic, but chase responses. You say you're in alignment, but accept chaotic energy from others. Each of these loops weakens your signal. So ask, what part of my routine contradicts the frequency I say I live in? Replace those actions immediately. Even one integrity upgrade changes your entire field. Step 5. Let frequency drive your calendar. Instead of asking, what do I have to do today? Ask, what am I broadcasting today, and what wants to flow from there? This doesn't mean you abandon responsibility. It means you stop using action to compensate for incoherence. You let life be a response to your signal, not a race to prove your worth. Quantum habits don't work like traditional habits. They don't take 21 days. They shift you instantly if you choose fully, because the field doesn't measure repetition. It reflects alignment, and one aligned act, done as the version of you who already is more powerful than 10,000 frantic motions done to become. Now that your habits are no longer action-based, but identity-driven, you're ready to see the entire world as a feedback mirror, a hologram broadcasting back every signal you emit. This is where alignment becomes visual, constant, and inescapably powerful. Your frequency is now embodied. Your habits are no longer action sequences, but energy patterns made visible. And now you're ready for one of the most thrilling truths of all. The universe is holographic, and every moment, interaction, delay, and breakthrough is reflecting your broadcast with exact precision. This means reality is not happening to you. It's happening from you. Let's clarify what we mean by holographic. A hologram is a full image projected from every small part of itself. Each piece of it contains the pattern of the whole. In the same way, every moment you experience contains a complete frequency signature of your current alignment. Nothing is random. Nothing is separate. Everything is mirroring the vibration you're emitting. This is not metaphor. It's energetic law. If you broadcast fear, you don't just attract bad things. You filter reality through the fear lens, and that becomes your story. If you broadcast coherence, life doesn't just feel smoother. It becomes intelligence in motion. Synchronicity increases. Timing becomes elegant. Obstacles move like choreography, because the field is not responding to your effort. It's echoing your tone. So how do you use the holographic nature of reality? You observe it. You stop seeing life as chaos or luck. You treat every moment like a coded message from your field. Let's look at the signs. 1. Repetition of patterns. Are similar people, outcomes, or struggles looping? That's not bad luck. It's a signal that hasn't been integrated. Ask, what broadcast keeps calling this in? What version of me is still active? When you see the pattern, you free the signal. 2. Emotional ricochets. Did someone trigger you? That's your field showing you where you're still broadcasting from wound, not wholeness. Instead of blaming, ask, what is this mirroring back to me? What part of me believes this is still true? 3. Delays and silence. If something you've aligned to isn't manifesting, it's not resistance, it's reflection. Ask, is my signal consistent? Or am I broadcasting and retracting? Do I believe I can have it, but still act like I can't? The delay is a teacher, not a punishment. 4. Unexpected openings. Sudden opportunities, surprise allies, random invitations. These are evidence of field coherence. Celebrate them, follow them, but don't be shocked by them. They are your signal, finally reaching saturation. To live inside a holographic universe is to take full responsibility, without blame. It means everything you experience is not right or wrong, but resonant. It's not about fault. It's about frequency truth. If life is showing you something, it means your field has produced it, not as punishment, as feedback. Let's use this with precision. Step 1. Wake up and say, everything I see today is my broadcast in motion. This primes your brain to read reality as signal reflection. You become a detective of alignment, not a victim of confusion. Step 2. Stop labeling outcomes as good or bad. Start labeling them as coherent or incoherent, signal matching or signal teaching, frequency confirming or frequency upgrading. This removes drama and returns you to power. Step 3. Use beauty as a mirror. Don't just analyze triggers. Notice where things feel gorgeous, soft, and expansive. That's your field too. That's evidence that you've tuned something right. Let it land. Anchor it. Say, this is mine now. Every moment becomes signal feedback. Every person becomes a coded ally. Every delay becomes a recalibration tool. This is not philosophy. It's energetic mastery. And when you live this way, nothing is wasted. No moment is small. No detour is off path. Because everything reflects your current signal. And your signal is not stuck. It's just waiting for clarity. Now that you understand that the universe is mirroring every broadcast, you're ready to supercharge your signal using music, symbols, and motion, tools that can amplify your frequency faster than words ever could. Your field is no longer accidental. Your habits have become frequency drivers, and you now read every moment as a mirror of your signal. But what if you could amplify that signal? What if certain tools could make your vibration not only more powerful, but more coherent, magnetic, and undeniable? You can. And the tools are already in your life. Music, symbols, movement. These are not aesthetics. They are signal amplifiers, and when used with intent, they become bridges between your inner broadcast and the outer quantum response. Let's begin with music. Music doesn't just make you feel something. It literally repatterns your field. Different frequencies trigger emotional release, nervous system regulation, heart coherence, theta and alpha brainwave states, vibrational openings. This is why certain songs give you chills. Your body isn't reacting emotionally. It's resonating energetically. So how do you use music as a quantum tool? Step 1. Cure it by frequency, not genre. Forget what's trending. Forget what others say is high vibe. Tune into what evokes alignment in you. Ask, does this make my breath slow down? Does this open my chest or my mind? Does this connect me to a version of myself I want to live from? Let that be your playlist. Step 2. Use sound as signal confirmation. Play music after making a frequency shift. Let it anchor the new tone. Let it remind your body, this is who we are now. Over time, your system will associate those tracks with your highest broadcast, and just hearing them will retune you instantly. Now let's talk symbols. Symbols are language beyond logic. They bypass thought and speak directly to your subconscious and your field. Every culture, ritual, and spiritual lineage has known this. That's why mandalas calm the mind. Sacred geometry opens new insights. Sigils carry embedded intent. Personal symbols, even tattoos, become energetic anchors. To use symbols consciously. Step 1. Choose or create a personal resonance mark. Find or draw a shape that makes you feel stable, powerful, open, trusting. Then place it where your nervous system sees it often. On your desk, as a lock screen, in your journal, on your water bottle. Let it become a silent agreement with your desired timeline. Step 2. Charge it with emotion. Don't treat it as art. Treat it as a conduit. Look at the symbol and say aloud, this represents my aligned signal. This reflects my chosen identity. This image holds my truth. Even 10 seconds of presence will embed frequency into form, and form will reflect frequency back. Finally, movement. Your body is your most powerful transmitter. The way you move tells the field what you believe you deserve. When you walk fast, tense, braced, you broadcast urgency and defense. When you move with intention, grace, or grounded softness, you broadcast certainty and trust. Movement isn't exercise. It's signal choreography. To use it as a frequency amplifier. Step 1. Identify your signal walk. This is how you'd walk if you had the love, you had the wealth, you had the respect, you knew your power. Now practice walking as if that's real, not as role play, but as an energetic embodiment. Do this even once a day. You'll feel your field adjust instantly. Step 2. Use physical gestures as anchors. Touch your heart when making a choice. Raise your arms when celebrating alignment. Close your eyes and stretch when you need recalibration. Small, repeatable movements become quantum triggers that link your body back to your highest tone. Together, music, symbols, and movement create a sensory loop that reinforces your transmission. They're not accessories. They're tools of amplification. And when your field becomes this intentional, the universe doesn't need to decode your signal. It recognizes it, and it reflects it. Now that you've mastered how to amplify your transmission, You're ready to ask a deeper question. Not just what are you attracting, but what are you imprinting? What is the legacy your signal is leaving behind in the field? You've become the signal. You've cleaned, tuned, aligned, and amplified. But the field doesn't just respond to what you transmit. It remembers it. Your frequency leaves a mark, a trail, a blueprint, not only for your life, but for the lives, timelines, and energies you influence just by existing. This is your field legacy. And whether you know it or not, you're leaving one. Right now, let's break the illusion. Most people think legacy is about achievements, titles, fame, followers, buildings or books or brands. That's surface residue, not field impact. Your real legacy is what your energy communicates long after the moment has passed. It's the frequency imprint others carry after being near you. It's the tone you send into the fabric of collective reality. That is eternal. So ask yourself, what does my field currently echo into the world? Is it permission, peace, possibility, pressure, control, expansion? You don't need to guess. Just reflect on how people feel around you, what feedback you attract, what memories your presence creates. Those are echoes of your legacy frequency. To shift your legacy, you don't need to change your life. You need to shift your signal identity. Let's do that right now. Step 1. Choose your legacy tone. Ask, when people think of me, what do I want their nervous system to feel? Maybe calm, courage, permission, depth, magic. Let that tone become your guiding frequency. Not for performance, for imprint. Step 2. Start encoding every moment. From here forward, every conversation, post, walk, and pause is a chance to leave a resonance behind. Ask, what signal do I want to leave in this room? What tone will linger after I walk away? Start living from the imprint. Step 3. Treat your body as a legacy vessel. You're not just transmitting, you're also recording. Every unresolved trauma, healed timeline, bold choice, becomes cellular memory. That memory shapes your DNA expression, your aura, even your children and those who inherit your energy field by proximity. Clean it up, upgrade it, celebrate it, because your field is your artifact. Step 4. Broadcast for the unseen. You never know who's feeling your energy from afar. You never know what ripple your calm created in someone else's storm. You never know how your signal helped someone re-choose their timeline. Live like your energy matters beyond what you can measure. Because it does. Legacy isn't what you leave behind when you die. It's what your frequency plants in every space you enter. And right now, you are planting something. Every day, every breath. So choose it, own it, honor it. You are no longer just trying to manifest. You are co-authoring reality, encoding futures, sending signal instructions into the quantum field that others will one day feel. This is power, and this is purpose. Now that you know the legacy of your frequency, you are ready for the final evolution, to stop seeking manifestations and become a transmitter of miracles. You've walked through the signal distortion. You've corrected the 3 core quantum mistakes. You've recalibrated your field, rewired your habits, and stopped broadcasting contradiction. You've watched the universe mirror your identity. You've learned to speak its language, not with words, but with coherence. Now there's one final shift left, and it isn't another layer of understanding. It's a complete upgrade of who you are inside the field. Not a receiver, not a manifester, not even a co-creator, a transmitter of certainty, of coherence, of miracles. Let's be precise. A miracle isn't something rare or granted. It's not divine exception. A miracle is simply an instantaneous alignment with a higher order of possibility. It's what happens when your signal becomes so stabilized, so non-resistant, so integrated, that time collapses. The field doesn't delay. It responds in real time. That's not luck. It's physics. When you become a transmitter, you don't just get things. You become the field's point of origin. People feel different around you. Synchronicities magnetize to your presence. Ideas, resources, timing all begin to orbit you, not because you asked, but because you radiated signal clarity. You became the place the field organizes itself around. So how does this final upgrade happen? It's not something you earn. It's not something you force. It's a surrendered activation, a state you now get to step into because you've done the inner rewiring. Let's guide that shift now. Step 1. Drop the identity of the seeker. The seeker constantly scans the field for confirmation, for signs, for validation that it's working. But the transmitter doesn't look for proof. They know they are the signal that creates the proof. This means letting go of obsessive checking, over-cleansing your energy, constant recalibrating, endless "am I doing it right?" thoughts. You've practiced long enough. Now you stabilize. You shift from searching to streaming. Step 2. Normalize the miraculous. The transmitter is not shocked when things align. They are grounded in their expectation. When the unexpected arrives, they don't say, "I can't believe it." They say, "Of course." This is not arrogance. It's resonant identity. And the more you normalize miracles, the more your field stops collapsing timelines with disbelief. Step 3. Stop managing outcomes. Start amplifying tone. You no longer need to control results. You simply manage your frequency broadcast. Every morning, ask, is my tone clear? Is my signal coherent? Is my field relaxed, grateful, and open? If so, let go of the need to know how. Your job is signal. The field's job is form. Don't reverse that equation. Step 4. Act as a frequency stabilizer for others. The true transmitter isn't just magnetic for their own life. They become coherence multipliers. Your presence recalibrates others. Not because you're teaching, but because you're being. This is your legacy. You no longer chase impact. Your vibration is the impact. Step 5. Anchor your field across dimensions. When you become a transmitter, you operate across layers. Physical reality, emotional tone, quantum potential, archetypal narrative. You're not just influencing your goals. You're influencing grids, networks, generational resonance. And it happens by default when your field stops contradicting itself. This is why even your silence carries weight now. Why your non-reactions shift energy. Why your presence alters timelines. You've entered a state where reality starts to self-organize around you because you've stopped emitting noise. You now emit truth. What does a transmitter's day look like? Simple, still, precise, charged, but never frantic. You move from one inner signal to the next. You don't chase. You don't hustle. You magnetize. You receive. You stabilize. And when things fall away, you don't cling. You let the field clean itself because it always does. You are no longer in panic about loss. You are plugged into the infinite. A transmitter doesn't need intensity. They trust subtlety. They can feel the moment something enters their field that doesn't belong. And they release it not with drama, but with energetic clarity. Your no becomes a boundary in the fabric of time. Your yes becomes an invitation to shift probability fields. This is no longer about manifestation. This is stewardship of frequency. So how do you stay in this state without slipping? You don't. You remember over and over. And each time you forget, you return faster. The transmitter is not perfect, but they are faithful to alignment. They don't panic in misalignment. They don't collapse into shame. They recenter. They tune. They soften. They breathe back into signal. This is the final lesson. You don't transmit miracles because you try to be pure. You transmit miracles because you've stopped abandoning coherence. You've stopped pretending. You've stopped doubting. You've stopped waiting for the field to do something for you. You've become the field in motion. And now your reality bends, because it has no choice. The field is always listening. And your tone is finally clear. No contradiction. No static. No mismatch. Only signal. Only presence. Only resonance. So now, as this transmission concludes, ask yourself, not what else do I need to learn, but what does my field now command? What do I now expect without hesitation? What do I allow without negotiation? You are no longer the one hoping. You are the one holding. You are no longer the one seeking alignment. You are the one streaming alignment into form. You are no longer becoming the signal. You are the signal, and the universe has no choice but to mirror back the miracle that you now are. This is your final upgrade. You are now a quantum transmitter of miracles.